All right, everybody, peace. Welcome to the Sorry to Bother You show. Wherever have you are listening, we're so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I'm Sean Cottle, and I'm joined here as usual by the amazing, the wonderful Mr. Fantastic himself, Dre Pennington.
What up, y'all? What up, y'all? It's good to hear. Oh, sorry. It's good to see
Whoa.
everybody. Glad everybody can make it. Glad everybody's watching. Kashawn, how was your week, man? You good? Like, well, I know you was stressing about Alabama, all that, but
Hey, we just pulled off a victory against Texas A&M, so I'm feeling much better now, brother. I'm
um,
good to go, man. I'm copacetic right now.
I see everybody. I know everybody is wild. We got a third person here, but this is another one of those people who I say like it's a special one. Is one person I consider my brother as well. His family. This dude got his arms out, is killing me. But this is my brother. He's family, just like you, Kashawn. My mom also checks in with me and also asks like, "Yo, how's he doing?" This is my brother Jimmy Whitt. And for those who don't know, he is a three-time All-State high school. Huh?
Should have been full time.
Should have been four. Three-time All-State. He almost, I want to say he was top 5 in the country in scoring in high school as well. Had over 2,000, actually 2,400 points he scored in high school. Was 1,000 point scorer in college, and actually led the league in Mexico in scoring as well. So he knows how to fill it up. Like I said, my brother Jimmy Whitt, and welcome to the show, bro. How you doing?
Man, we should have came in with a Sexy Red theme song because I always think if you see me and you try to say what's up, ski. We should. That's my fault. Hold on, let me lock in. What's up? I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Even though I this, I told you this dude is wild, man. He started off crazy already.
Yo, Sexy Red theme song is nuts, bro.
Because Drake got her on my mind because he put her on the album. We're not gonna get into that though.
Whoa, real quick. What did you think about that album, bro?
7 out of 10. It wasn't bad. There was no bad songs, but it was mid. It was just like, okay, like good job.
See, now you're trying to have all the Drake people come after us. Like, hey man, tell your boy to get up out of here.
Issue with Drake fans. It's like not every song has to be a classic. It's like don't die on the hill of saying that Sexy Red song was a classic. Like, let's be honest with each other. It was okay. It was good. It was good. It wasn't nothing crazy though. It wasn't no Rod Wave album, but
look, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, what is up with you guys and Rod Wave, man? What in the world?
He speaks the truth, Kashawn. I'm trying to tell you.
Rod be talking to he talks to my soul, to like the bone marrow. Like that's how I feel his music.
Okay, I got it. To be fair though, Jimmy, Dre has been trying to put me on to Brent Faiyaz for like 3 years, and then I listened to his last album just came out, and then that's what finally put me on to him.
I'm not Brent. I haven't got behind Brent. I also haven't listened like that, so I might like him, but I just haven't got behind him for real.
Don't worry, Dre's gonna he's gonna do his best to try to put you on to him, bro. Because
that's why he likes Brent. He's toxic. It's toxic.
Hey, you're the first person to ever call me toxic. That is hilarious. I don't believe. Look, guys, do not believe this man. He's just like a Sean. He's trying to throw out this campaign.
2 rules: no profanity and no lying. So we're not.
Hey, but Dre, Jimmy might know something. He might know if he's the only one that's saying he might know something that we don't, man.
Don't believe this man. Don't believe this man.
Believe somebody that's wearing his strap back backwards. Like, what are we doing? The man has a strap-on hat backwards. That's all I got.
You want me to wear it for it? You want me to put it like this for you?
Now you're a quality man. That's a quality man. Backwards is.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. That is insane. Do not let this man come on the pod and be toxic, man. I hate the culture. Don't do that. Well, first off, Jimmy, man, we always do check-ins. So first off, I want to ask, man, how are you feeling mentally? How you been feeling mentally?
Mental strong right now. I'm in that. I feel like there's phases of life, and you have the highs and you have the lows, but most of it's lived in that middle ground. So I'm in that middle ground where it's like it's all about perspective. So it's like when you're in that middle ground, I feel like people get complacent. You get to being like, it's not exciting today, or you can start to look at like the bad things going on. But I'm one of those like, when I'm in this middle ground, I'm always looking out about the people I have in my life, the things I'm doing. So it's like everything's on a good track. So I feel great currently at the moment.
There we go. And then Kashawn, what about you? How you feeling mentally?
Yeah, I'm in a great space, man. I'm good. Just trying to focus on being in the present moment, man. Like that's something I've been struggling with like the past couple of weeks. So like being intentional about what my focus is going towards and being intentional is something I've been trying to focus on. But I'm great though, man. I'm blessed to be here, bro. So
There we go. We'd love to hear that. What about physically, Jimmy? How are you feeling physically?
You see the cutoff, man. You see the cutoff. That's why we come on. You see the cutoff. I'm just gonna leave it at that, man. You see, they see the hold on. Like, look. I'm a chill. I'm a chill. You right. We good though.
Kashawn, how you feeling physically?
I lost my train of thought, man, but I'm good. Jimmy's funny, bro. I got in the hot tub today, hit the sauna, so Saturday's my recovery day, so I'm good, bro. I'm good.
There we go. And then, Jimmy, spiritually, how we feeling?
I got that good devotional in every morning, got my prayers in. That's going really good. That end, I want to say the past 2 years, I've really been on it hard, like a hard grind spiritually. So that's actually the best part of my life currently.
Anything specific that led you to like, it sort of made you like focus in on that more?
That's probably getting to like the career, how my life has gone. But there was a moment where I was sitting on my couch at my mom's crib, and I felt I felt down bad, but like I've never felt the point to where my soul felt like it wanted to cry. And that's how I felt in that moment. And then I was like, Lord, I only got 2 options. And I was just like, I gave all my life, everything that was happening, career, personal, everything. I was like, I'll give it to you. And whatever you give me in return, I'll say it was from you. And I'll do my best to like keep looking towards you and promote that and put it out there. But that's like detail, but we can get into it more like later. But that is the main point in my life, like that moment.
Beautiful.
I love to hear that. Kashawn, how we feeling spiritually?
Spiritually, I'm good, man. I was talking to my sister today, on the ride down to my mother's house, and she was talking about the importance of like enjoying the relationship with God and not just using it as a means to like get what you want. And so that's why I love what Jimmy just said, man, like the importance of like giving yourself to God, like for the peace of mind, not for what you get in return. So like just how Jimmy found that peace in like the relationship, I'm learning to be intentional about focusing on the relationship with God and not like what he's giving me in return. Cause like what I realize is like we can have all the physical stuff, bro, but like for me, like I don't really find anything of value in it. Like it fades over time. But that relationship with God, man, is like has been for me the most consistent thing that gives me like joy. So like really appreciating that and paying attention to that has been my focus. But dude, like I'm blessed though, bro.
Love to hear that, man. Especially for both of y'all. Love to hear that.
Wait, Trey, wait. You asked me all the questions.
Yeah, well, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming up. Mentally, bro, I'm in a good space. I'm at a good, actually not good, but great space. It's been a great week. Been a lot of celebration, a lot of heartaches and getting over them, but we learning from them. That's why I said it's getting better each week. This week, physically, I'm in that gym every day, lifting them weights. I got my accountability partner on here with me, so he's accountable.
We're gonna tap you in too. We gonna on the train.
Yeah. And then spiritually, man, I'm always gonna be good. I woke up today, man, like even if I'm feeling like down or anything like that, the first thing I do as soon as I wake up is I pray and I talk to God and I just have my prayer and talk to him for 10 minutes. And I say to myself, that's something I can give him every day. If I can watch some on my phone for 10 minutes, if I can sit and like watch TV for 10 minutes, I can sit there and talk to him for 10 minutes. So that's the first thing I do every day, and I make sure I do it. And man, I got to talk to my grandmother today, so like that made me even more happy. So like that was my day today was just great. That's all I can say.
That's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Dre, I just I'm kind of curious, where, because obviously you and Jimmy go way back, man. Like what what was the genesis of your guys' relationship.
It's wild to say. So listen to this. We are at the great Hickman High School. You know, the great. Well, we made it great. We made it. We had fun at it.
We got. I'm gonna be real. It was boo boo. 7 years. We were back for 7 years straight or something crazy by our rival school.
He's making it worse. But the first time we met, we were sitting on sitting watching the game, watching Hickman play, and we just started talking and having a conversation. I had no idea who it was. I knew Jimmy's older brother first, and then we sat there, we talking, chatting it up, and I was like, "Yo, you kind of like this dude's kind of cool." And ever since then, we've been cool chatting. We text almost all the time, and we just be kicking it every time we can.
The real story is that was like the soft version. The rated R version is Dre saw me and he was like, "You're the realest dude I've ever met." Like, bro, like you're younger than me, but like I haven't met any real dudes like you in a minute. And I looked at him and I said, "Dude, a little lame, but like I rock with you." Like
this dude is, hey, don't believe, like I said, don't believe the thing he's saying.
No, he's cool. And I was like, "That's my dog." And then it grew from there. You know, some house parties. A lot of house parties. Dre was the person I used to sneak out my house to go to parties with. And
wow, hey,
when my mom sees it, she's gonna hit you up, Dre.
100%, she's gonna text me like, "So he used to stay at your house? We'll go it out, huh?" I'm like, "Right."
Dre, I was
not it at all.
Past 1 a.m.
I will say, when he was kicking it with me, we was out and about almost every Friday, Saturday night. Practice the next day and everything. We'd be like, we good.
And it was
okay.
I don't know if everyone's school was like this, but when I was a freshman, I wasn't at Hickman like with Dre. Like we had the junior high, so I was still at West. So like I didn't get to hang out with the people I was like playing with my freshman year, unless it was like after school or something. Because I used to bus to Hickman my freshman year.
That is an interesting setup, man.
Yeah. So it's weird. I think it's like one of the only things that Missouri still does. Well, they used to, especially specifically in Columbia, how they used to do that. I don't know if they do that a lot of places anymore, but
that was like Dre. That was like literally when I talk to people, they think it's the weirdest thing ever that we did 10th, 11th, 12th, and then we had 8th and 9th out of school, and then 6th and 7th out of school.
Whoa, wait, so 8th and 9th, or they have their own school?
Yeah, so we were junior high school, quote unquote, junior high school, 8th and 9th.
Oh wow. Wait, how does that affect like recruiting at all? Like if coaches want to come see you play, like does that affect that at all?
Well, I feel like I don't know. Dre can attest to his part, but I feel like when I was coming up, like it was like rare for a freshman to go play because it was like an idea of you were playing up. So it's like you weren't even playing at your school. You were playing up at the high school. So like it was like rare when I was coming up. I'm pretty sure, Dre, my freshman year, I was the only one from like West or whoever or Oakland that even played up at Hickman.
Yeah. And then the year before that, it was Chris.
Yeah.
My sophomore year, Chris's freshman year, he was the only one that was there. Chris is another one. Great dude. Also used to come and sleep on my couch as well, stay at my house as well. Be the wild times. my mom and my pop's house used to be packed with my teammates, and they'd be like, "Well, wake up the next day, they'll be cooking and everything for us." And I'd just be like, "All right, it is what it is." But yeah, they those two, you and Chris were the only ones who really did that. All my years at Hickman.
I feel like this is such an interesting thing because nowadays I feel like a freshman playing at high school is just so normal. Yeah. But like my perspective on it when I was coming up was like Dre was saying, like it was like rare. Like you were one of them dudes if you were playing up at the high school.
Oh yeah. You was getting the serious bucket, or you was killing if you were playing as a freshman. Yeah.
Was it a huge transition though? Like was it a huge gap in talent between the 9th graders and then the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders?
I feel like when we were split, it was only because like, so on a daily basis, I'm going to school around like 8th and 9th graders. So it's like even basketball aside, it's a different feel when I leave school everyone just seems older and like bigger. Like everyone just seems so much more grown than me, because that's what I was seeing on a daily basis.
That makes sense. But so was it a difficult transition for you then when you first started playing with?
Well, I don't even think Dre knows this, but when I first started playing, my dad used to tell me, like, your role is going to be, if you want to play varsity, just give the ball to the older dudes. Like, I didn't even expect to like come in and like, oh, I'm going to be killing. I was just like, if I can play and just give like the Quan, L, and all these guys the ball, I was like, I'm cool with that. It just so happened as the season went on, it was like, dang, I'm low key better than you. No, I'm joking. I'm playing. No, but as the season went on, I just got more confident in like scoring and just playing my game, and then my role just increased from there, type deal.
Yeah. So I would say my this was your freshman year was my junior year. As
Yeah.
they kept going, like the upperclassmen, they were getting hurt. Some people weren't just showing up as much, like just the little things like that. And then you could just see that Jimmy and our other guy Chris just started blossoming, and they just started going to work on people, being honest. I want to say you led our team in scoring, didn't you?
Yeah, like 13-8 or something that year, like around 14.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, like they started just going crazy. And then what was even more funny though, we started playing like really, really like good teams, like top-notch teams. And it went from like my year before where I was like, dang, like we not really killing like that. Like we not really in the game. It went from that to, oh no, we're in here. Like we got this. Like we
Oh,
can
yeah.
win this. And like you could just tell as they grew, our team grew, like confidence wise, like guys started playing their roles even better. And people had new roles, but then like their new roles fit them a little bit more. And they started just getting more confident in their new roles. I would say that. And that honestly started because Jimmy started growing with his, like he just started growing more confidently. We started trusting in him more, him and Chris more. And then I will say, like, we started trusting in our coach DJ, who's now retired. Shout out to one of the best coaches in actually Missouri history, being honest.
Yeah. 2 years, your 2 year junior, senior, I'm almost positive we only lost like 4 games, and they were all in like state. Like,
Yeah.
we were like,
Actually,
well,
I'll take that
great.
back. I'll take it back. My junior year, we were on the rise. We just didn't realize it. My senior year, Kashawn, I tore my ACL. I didn't get to play that full year, but you could tell that our team was just different as a whole. Oh, and like quite honestly, we went 27-3.
Yeah, working. Only public school that was in the Final Four. Like, we were playing great private schools, which I still don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
As a competitor, I know how I feel, but when I take that aside and I look at the kids there now, I don't know how I feel.
Wait, Jimmy, you gotta elaborate on that, man.
Bro, so
I don't care who you put me up against. Like, if they brought Bron in his prime down to play against us when we were in high school, I'm down for it. But when I put that pride of like a player aside and I'm looking at kids that like I have no skin in the game, it's like you're putting kids that like we get who we get at a public school. Like, we don't get to pick and choose players. And you're playing against nowadays AAU teams. Like, I'm watching full kids go from the Eagles, St. Louis Eagles, EYBL, and then come and play in high school together. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. When Lil Johnny, I don't know what Lil Johnny do during the, you know what I mean? A public school reality is you may have 3 good players, 2 really good ones, especially in Missouri, and Dre can attest. Usually it's like you get 2 like diamonds where you're like, ooh, these dudes is real tough. And then like a guy that's playing football, baseball, and soccer is also like playing 40 minutes a game.
yeah.
So even when you guys were in high school, was there, I don't want to say corruption, but like Jim, like you said, like guys are like kind of like basically connecting behind the scenes on like where they'll be playing at for high school. Like, so that's sort of level of corruption still going on at that time.
Yeah. That 100% was happening. I think who was it? When we were in state, it was us. We were the only public school, and then who else was it?
The first year was us, Vianney, DeSmet, and Rockhurst.
Yeah. And so those other 3 teams are all private schools, all can recruit. They've all probably been playing with each other on AAU teams or like different teams like that since they were in probably like 6th, 7th grade. And we were just all thrown together. Realistically, just a bunch of guys just from around, like down the street from each other, hanging out, and all
Yeah.
thrown on the same high school team.
So did you guys feel like a sense of like accomplishment? Did you guys ever hang
Oh,
with
yeah.
those teams?
Oh, yeah. Because it wasn't that we were just beating them. I want to say we beat Vianney by what, 30?
We were dogging teams,
Yeah, we
and
were.
we played so unconventionally. Like there was no real structure to our offense. It was just that our defense was like, "Hey, we're gonna trap you every single second of the game, everywhere over the court," and we would average like 30 steals a game, straight trapping, no bigs. Everyone at least tallest person is like 6'4".
So I want to ask this, Jimmy, what game? Like I think I can remember it in my head, but what game do you think your sophomore year was like? Oh wow, we have a chance to be like really special. When you were just like, wow, like I think we can do something great.
It wasn't even in the season. It was when we went to Atlanta.
Okay, I remember this.
And we went to that little, I don't even know what you call it. It's not like a tournament. It's just a camp, like a team camp.
Mm.
And when we got there, like, you know how Atlanta can get. They got some dogs up there, but they all got that, like, who are these dudes from Columbia, Missouri type deal. And when we got there,
about right.
I remember them being like, hey, these teams that are here, like, were really good or went far in state or something. And they were talking crazy to us the first game on the court, like, hey, we finna smoke these dudes, like, whoop-de-whoop, talking. And, you know, we like, hey, bro, I don't know if y'all think we soft or something, like, just because we're from Columbia, Missouri, but it's not going like that. I remember the first game, we were getting into it. Like, we almost fought that team after. And then after we dogged them, I just remember Coach DJ looking at us and be like, hey, y'all might be worth something this year. And then, like, that whole team camp all weekend, we were tearing teams up and just talking crazy to them.
And what was funny was, so one of the teams we played, I can't remember who it was specifically, but they were like the 5-time state champion in the state of Georgia. And it was at Georgia State team camp. And when I say we, like, not only did we like beat this team, but we beat them like handily. Like it was probably by like 10 plus points. Dudes were getting like doing pretty much whatever they wanted. And we were just like, that's when I realized, I was like, oh, we're about to be nice. Like we about to be super nice. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It was crazy. So then I think when we first got back to Columbia and that season started, I played in the team camp and everything. I tore my ACL in like our one of our open gyms. And then those first 10, 15 games, I just remember watching our team and I was like, I said, oh, the first 5 to 10 games will tell us everything. But one of the things that I could see that was like real special was that Jimmy and our other guy, our backcourt, Jimmy and Chris, just started gelling so well. And Jimmy was just killing. Like he was, anybody you put him in front of, they couldn't stop him, couldn't stay with him. And all you just hear me is on the bench. I'm like, hey, bro, you really gonna let him try and guard you like that? Like, bro, what are you doing? Come on, kill him. Yo, stop playing around. Kill them. Like, stop doing that. And so one of the things I wanted to ask you was just like, as far as for in high school, what was like some of those motivations that you just had?
I think motivation was like the Rockbridge thing, because before I got there, we hadn't won in like 7 years. I'm pretty sure it was a 7-year streak, which is like unheard of. And it was just, and you know, the dynamic between Hickman and Rockbridge, it's like, it might be like 1960s type.
It's wild. No, it's very
you know
wild.
I mean? Like, it's just like, I ain't like it. And I ain't like that they was smacking us. I think that was motivation, really wanting to beat them. And then I think it was after my freshman year, the leading and scoring thing, and then the confidence that like y'all put into me of being like, hey, bro, like you're one of those dudes, like go out there and hoop. And I think confidence that other people put into you, it's like a risky thing, but when you get it and like you go out and play, no matter what sport it is, it can like turn you from being good to like crazy good. Like going out there and just playing freely is something that like I wish more coaches would do in turn. But that's like a whole different conversation. But that was the point of your question, was it was like y'all and then the Rockbridge thing really like motivated me to be like, yo, we need to turn up this year.
Yeah, because Sean, when I say like, and the thing is like Rockbridge, I think every year it was, no matter how good like teams at Hickman they had, they just couldn't get past one team, and it was crazy because like we had probably like some of the most talented guys I've ever seen play basketball. Like just were pure athletes, like could do just about anything on the court, and couldn't get past this one team that just for some reason outsmarted them in just about everything. And next thing you know, that 1 year changed just about everything for us.
It really did. It really did.
So Jimmy, so was there a point, and this is so Dre, this is your senior year, right? Still
Yeah, this is my senior year.
So Jimmy, so at what point did you, like, was there a specific game or a specific moment in practice? Like, was there a moment where you told, when you finally realized to yourself, like, yo, like I can play at the next level, like I'm good enough to get to the next level? Like, was there a specific moment where that occurred?
It was freshman year is when I was like, oh, like I could actually play Division I and like this, that, and the third, because Wichita State came to one of our practices. I think Dre remembers this. They came, they watched us like do an open gym or something.
That was where I got hurt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then right after that, they offered me, like right after the open gym, they were like, hey, this is when Greg Marshall was there too.
Wow.
So it's
Okay.
like, we want to offer you a scholarship. And I was just like, dang, like, because in my family, that was like unheard of. Like no one had ever got that or done that. So it was just like a dang, like this, okay. And then after that, that's when I went out of the city to play like AAU that summer. And that's when things like blew up.
So, and jumping off that, for AAU, who'd you play where you were just like, hey, like who's the one guy that you see now in probably like NBA or anywhere else where you were like, hey, I played against him and I like matched up and did everything, like I gave him all he could like handle.
Who were the guys? I played against Alonzo Trier. I don't if y'all remember him. He was like a bucket, especially in AAU. I played against Lenny. I played against Alonzo Trier, Malik Newman. That's my dog. Shout out Malik Newman. I played against him. That's when he led that year too. My senior year in scoring. He was like one of two people above me. Ivan Rabb, I'm pretty sure did we play Ben Simmons? No, we played Ivan Rabb though. If y'all remember him, dude from Oakland.
Yeah. He was, I think he was number one in the country at a point in time.
Yeah, he was for a while. Just guys like that. Did we play against, I'm pretty sure Tyus Jones' little brother at one point, Gary Trent, OG. We didn't play him in the summer. I played him in high school. So like we played against some dudes in the summer, thinking back. It was definitely some good competition.
Did you always, so whenever you matched up against guys like from that caliber, did you ever feel like there was a talent gap between those guys and you, or did you always feel like you can hang
No, I
guys?
felt like I was right on par with them, especially in AAU when I got to play with like really good players, and then we're matching up against these guys, and like at these little AAU tournaments, they always like to hype them up. So it's like the Jimmy versus Malik Newman or whatever the matchup was. I always felt like I was right there, but like that's again part of like that's just my competitive mentality. Like even if I wasn't, which I never was, but even if I wasn't, I would have thought like that. Let's say I'm the worst player on the court, I'm just gonna be out there thinking I'm LeBron or Kobe. Like that's just how my mind works.
Do you think that mindset is necessary though to play at the next level and to be an elite level player?
I think as you go up, that mindset becomes even more necessary. So I feel like to go Division I or whatever, you got to have a certain mindset, but it's like not as much as like if you wanted to play overseas or like the NBA or at the highest level. But as you go up, you have to start thinking more and more like you're that dude, but then you have to be smart with it. Like you got to know what you're getting into, what position, it's a grand scheme of things as you move up, because the worst part about basketball is that as you move up, it becomes way more of a business than it is like straight basketball. And it sucks, and it's hard to explain to people that aren't in it, because from the outside looking into a casual fan, it's always so dumb to see when people are like, this person isn't good, or like, why can't this person score? Whoop whoop. This person in NBA is not good. And I'm like, you don't understand that people are paying you millions of dollars sometimes to not do something. Like, I know dudes that can go get buckets in the NBA right now, but they get paid to not do that, to play defense and pass to other guys. So it's like, as you go up, really knowing that and trying to keep that mindset of like, I like to use Pat Bev as an example because he went to Arkansas. Like, I've seen his career and stuff. I don't think people really realize like he was a 20 plus to 30 point a game scorer, like high school. Like, he was a dog. He was a bucket. But then, like he's always says, when he came to the NBA, like, that's not the role they pay him for. And he was trying to get to that money and last at the highest level. And then he changed that mindset of like still being a dog, but being a dog in his role, if that makes sense.
Awesome. And but Jimmy, like you said, that's something that you were able to do even starting your freshman year, like, being able to adjust and play within the role what the team needs you, even as a freshman.
Yeah, for sure. But I do got to credit Coach DJ a lot because he didn't very much like try to restrict me in any type of way. He was really, to this day, was probably like one of the coaches that really was just like, I'm going to let you be exactly who you are. And whoever that is, you're going to decide it, but I won't ever hold you back from doing anything or not trying things.
And I'm sure that led to your success as a high school player. And you talked about Arkansas. Um, Talk to us about your recruiting process and what it was like, being offered by Wichita State and Greg Marshall. And talk to us about that process of being recruited through high school and making your decision on where to go to school.
I have an interesting one because I didn't have any I had no baseline for it. Like, I did not know what I was doing. Like, if I could go back and explain to my younger self, like, this is how you should navigate the process, I would. And I try to help people now. But back then it was like, I'm getting calls, like, especially after my sophomore year, like every other day with another coach being like, hey, we want to offer you a scholarship, and like talking to people. And I'm trying to navigate, like, I'm 15, 16 at the time. I don't want to talk to 40-year-old men all day. Like, I want to go hang out with my friends and stuff. So like, I'm not giving the process the time to really consider like what might be the best option for me and like really digging into these schools. It's just like, I was honestly in the moment of just like, you call, oh, you want to offer? Cool. And then bang the phone on them. And I might not talk to them after that moment. And then I really didn't start diving down into like narrowing things down until probably my junior year, like that summer, where I was really like, all right, where do I want to go? What schools are interesting? Like, I personally think I had 26 offers.
Wow.
After it was all said and done. I think that was way too many. There was no point in me talking to 26 schools. Like, I should have just told him from the jump, like, I probably won't be coming to Harvard. Sorry to break it to you. You know what I mean? Like, there's some schools that you just know you're not going to.
So did you feel overwhelmed in that moment, or what was?
For sure. I think there was times where I did feel overwhelmed because I remember times where, and I hate to say it like this because it's like there's people that would kill to, you know what I mean, have 26 offers. But I think there's a reality to situations, and like 26 too much. Like, I remember people calling my phone and I'm ignoring calls because I'm like, I just got off the phone with 3 other coaches. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care who it is. Like, I just don't want to talk. And I did feel like at times it was overwhelming. But again, none of my family had been there. So, like, we didn't know how to navigate it properly.
So
And sort of,
no, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
like, I wish I could go back and tell my younger self, yo, if there's schools you know you're not going to go to, let's chop those off the list. Like, if they hit you up, say, hey, like, it's all good, but I'm not interested. So now that my list is at 26 and it's like, let's say 10, I can dive into 10 more and really take my years to really be like, all right, let me see where the team's at now. Let me see where they're going to be by the time I come out and get ready to go into college, and do all this instead of waiting to my junior year to look at a list of 26 and try to do it all in a summer of what I ended up doing, breaking it down all in a summer and then committing before my senior year, where I could have expanded it a smaller list through like 2 years, if that makes sense, and really dive into it. Because I really think like college can make or break players, and I've seen it so many times. And I don't think people really realize how big of a decision it is about where you go especially if you're really trying to go to that next level and be like a professional. Like, it really matters. And it's not about how big the name of the school is. It's truly about like a fit and where you belong and how you mesh into a system and what players are going to be there with you. There's all these factors that you really need to break down. And you just can't do it with a laundry list of 26, in my own opinion. And it really takes time to do it.
And then I will say for you, like I said, I was there for that whole thing. One thing I will say is just a quick story. Funnest time I probably ever had was, I don't even know if you remember this. When we went on a trip, it was me, you, and your pops, and we went to Kansas to go watch them play.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my first time ever going on like a recruiting trip or anything like that.
Hold on, I'm about to turn on my light.
Say pause it. Oh, this dude. This dude's insane.
Put it in the blooper reel, man.
He said, let's put it in the blooper reel.
There we go.
Hey, hey, but,
I was going to say, we have a heavy moment. He said, hold on. Where's the light?
Hey, but I can see Jimmy. I can see Jimmy's face like the past 2 minutes where he's like,
I know. I was looking. I was like, damn, it got dark as hell in there.
Something started happening. I don't know. Something was different in my brain, and I realized the lights off, and I got to looking around like, oh no.
Well, so I was gonna say, so one of the things that I like really credit you and Mr. Whitt for doing for me was when y'all took me on that trip to Kansas, and I don't even know if you remember that.
When we went to the Kansas basketball game.
Yeah, we went to the Kansas basketball game for an unofficial. Was it an unofficial visit?
It was official. They invited me up there. Yeah, we had some tickets.
And that was when the one point in my mind where I was like, bruh, I'm going to college. I was like, I'm going to hooping college. I was like, I'm not doing nothing else. I'm doing it. So I always say, like, I give credit to Jimmy and Mr. Whitt, and that's like why I'll be like, hey, that's family. Because they didn't have to take me with them. And they could have been like, nah, this would be like me, Jimmy, and like your mom could have went. But they was like, nah, Drake, come on, let's go. And I was like, oh, cool.
That Fog Allen, they be in there. They be
Kashapp,
they could play School of the Blind, and that gym's gonna be sold out.
It was crazy. Hey, they was throwing, wasn't it? They first bucket, they was throwing like newspaper onto the court. Like, it was crazy. And we got to see Ben McLemore. I think that was his first or second game there.
Yeah, Ben's here. Yeah.
Hey, Kashawn, dog. Straight dog.
Yeah.
really?
That game was popping. I just remember hitting threes, the gym going insane, dunks, like the gym just going crazy.
Right. It was insane. And so for you, I know, like, for most people, like, your first school you chose was Arkansas. Was there any other school that could have taken you? Like, was there any other school you were like, looking back, I probably I could have went there.
Oh, looking back, it was teams that really could have got me were. This isn't when I was transferring either. This was the first time. This was because that's when Larry Brown was there. What was it? Cal was the other one. I think Quanzo was there too. That was when Quanzo Martin was at Cal. Because I was real cool with one of the assistant coaches. But those were the two. But I can't even sit here and act like I really gave any other schools a consideration because I have such deep ties to Arkansas. Because like my brother, Manuel, who's like still my brother to this day, his dad was the assistant coach. So I can't even really sit here and give a real, like, these schools really could have got me because I think I pretty much knew since my sophomore year I was going to go to Arkansas with them, which looking back, I wish I didn't think like that, but it's one of those lessons you got to learn. Like, the biggest lesson I learned through all of it is like Arkansas was good for me. I learned a lot of things, but like business and family or like family and business shouldn't mix, in my opinion. Like, it's super hard and it's such a thin line. And especially when it comes to basketball, it's less like, at the end of the day, he wasn't my head coach. And I don't have anything against my head coach from Arkansas. It's just that I think I viewed basketball a little bit differently than he did.
And you talked
like, fine. I'm not saying I'm right and he's wrong, but at the end of the day, I'm playing and he's coaching. So he's going to coach how he wants to coach. And as a player, you should play how you feel you want to play. Because I would much rather fail doing something that I feel like I want to do than fail feeling like I'm doing it somebody else's way.
Was that a big adjustment for you though, Jimmy? Like going from, because you talk about how the higher levels you go, it's more and more like a business. And what you experienced with your coach at Arkansas, was that a culture shock for you? Like, was that a big adjustment for you as a player?
I think it was a big eye opener. It was an adjustment, but not things I couldn't see until where I'm at my life now. I think the biggest thing was what I was saying with the business and family thing, understanding like my play style, especially with me specifically, my play style, I would say is like unique. Like it's not, I can't play for every coach. Every coach couldn't coach me. I'm not a player that you're like, you can stick him on any team and he'll like play well. I know that about my game, and I know it's not like that. I'm not like a catch and shoot. I'm just going to sit in the corner and shoot threes. I'm more like put the ball in my hand. I like to work out in that mid-range area, which isn't like ideal for a lot of coaches. So there was that part of it. I think a big thing that I probably have never really talked about except with like other people. I don't think I've talked about this with Dre, but like a big thing was for me looking back is how much stock I put into my confidence, which relied in what other people thought of my game. And I think looking back as an 18-year-old, so much of my confidence of why I played so well was because everyone around me for like years, because I was playing so well, they were like, oh, you're so good, this, that, and the third. And the biggest shock is like going to a school like Arkansas, that's so big, where like if you play bad one time, you have people like tweeting at you and you suck, saying some of the craziest things. And at the time, I did not know how to deal with that. I thought I did, but like when I look back, I'm like, that really did get to me and like make me think like, dang, like this sucks. Like these people are talking crazy to me. Like you do start to like second guess yourself a little bit, especially with, like I said, my game was unique. How I shot was unique. Like it was a different type of game that isn't stereotypical or like textbook. And that did get to me my freshman year for sure. And like trying to deal with like the mental aspect of like people calling you out your name and like tweeting about you after the game and stuff.
And I think like for most people, they'll never really understand that. So you kind of saying that now is a huge thing that, you know, maybe somebody who's probably that could be in your position later on could also see it and be like, you know what, let me take that into effect as well. And I will say this as well. I did get into a whole argument with someone on Twitter when the day you were like, hey, I'm transferring.
Oh,
Hey.
yeah. If I can tell you some of the things I was saying to people in my DMs, like, because I'm one of those, like, if people think they're just going to say stuff to me and I'm going to be like the guy that's like, you know, it's Twitter, I'm not going to, no, even to this day, I will say something back. Like, if you guys, like, we can get into it. I have time in my day I could dedicate. We could get into it. You wanted this confrontation. I want to see what you're about. And I will get with people. Like, I'm not one of those, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let it, no, I'm going to say something to as many people as I can, too. Like, if I can get 100 people off in a day, I will.
But you know, that's so polar to like what we're, because you know, like we all play, like we're taught in like the meetings, our coach tells like don't respond to anyone on Twitter or on Instagram, like just let them rock. But like that's pretty polar, bro. Like your thought process, like
I'm one of those like this. Like a lot of the stuff, there's stuff I'll let go. But some people say some bold stuff to you to where I'm like, at this point, you tested me as a man. Like I'm not gonna get played. Like, hold on. Now you saying fighting words, and I'm like, at least I can tweet at you back. Like, no, it's not going like this. You'll be surprised how many people, when you respond to them, will back down and be like, oh, like my fault. Like I didn't even mean to say something like this. Because I think people really get into their emotions, and I do feel like a lot of them were like, I sort of get it as a fan. It's like you're so invested, and like I wouldn't do it, but like they spurt off and say some outlandish things to you. But I just can't let it all slide. I wouldn't recommend it for a lot of people, but I know myself, and I can't let all that slide. I'm sorry.
So what was the craziest thing that a fan said to you in the DM or on social media during your transfer process?
Like if I can't even say the word. It was so crazy. All right, so we all know the hard ER. Just imagine that word used every other time, and the basis and the synopsis of the message was like, you deserve to leave. We hate you. I wish you would die. If I were to come see you, like I would try to kill you myself. And I was like, I bet, like, you know where I'm at. Like I'm at school. I'm at this time. If it's really like that, please come see me. Like I'm cool with that.
Wait, okay, my bad, Jimmy. Because I really wasn't expecting you to say that. That's actually
I
kind of crazy,
100% was
man.
expecting you to say that.
No, I'm telling, and it was like I've gotten multiples of messages like that before, especially when I was transferring. And the crazy part is, so like my teammates, we all ride for each other. So they were like, when I was telling dudes like, "Yo, pop out, like this is where I'm at." My whole Arkansas team is with me, like, "Yo, we will really get after these dudes." Like it's not sweet, but like people that go to those links, I'm not even really upset with them, to be honest with you. Like I got to stand on my 10 toes as a man, so I'm gonna say something back. But like, you got to be going through something if you're gonna say something that crazy over a children's game. To be all like, in all honesty, like we're playing a children's game.
So,
Yeah.
so aside from the internet trolls and the stuff being said to you on social media, what was that transfer process like that for you? What was it like for you? And
It
why
was.
did you decide to transfer?
I wanted to transfer because I felt like my role with Arkansas and like how I viewed myself playing and how I was being played just did not align. And I felt like if I were to stay, I'd always have the regret of saying I tried it someone else's way and to bend to someone else's way. And if it didn't work out, I know I would always have that regret. And I was like, again, I'd rather fail me going somewhere and feeling like I tried it my way and it didn't work and I'm okay with that. So in terms of the specifics, at Arkansas, I was playing more like the 2-3, which I had never like played in my life. And it was hard for me, especially my freshman year. The 2-3 in the SEC, like these dudes like are stocky bodies. And I came into college like I didn't lift. I didn't even like lifting. Drake
I
can
can
attest,
relate.
like I'm lifting in our workouts, like on the bench, I'm hitting one rep and I'm looking at him like, bro, I hoop. I don't do this. Like I'm ducking lifts, weights, ducking, all that.
I can
So
relate.
I'm playing at the 2-3 my freshman year, and I'm like, dang, dude, 6'6", like big body. Not that I can't get after you, but like I'm uncomfortable out here doing this. I'm so used to playing at the point, having the ball in my hands, like making decisions. It was hard for me to watch someone else do that and then like try to play off them. Because I feel like, especially as a freshman, most freshmen, like you have one way you know how to play. It's very hard for freshmen to adjust their style of play to a team. Like I can do that now because I'm older and I know how to work it out and make things work for me. But in that part of my life, like if you're telling me to play a different way, I'm like, I don't know how. Like I'm going to be ineffective. So I felt like that my freshman year. And then thinking back, I was in the mindset again of like, I want to do things my way. So I was like, let me transfer or look at transferring at least and see if there's better options. And that's how I ended up going to SMU.
And then I would like jumping into that. I know that you had a good list of teams that reached out to you, especially after you were in that transfer portal. What sold you on SMU? Like I personally know how it is, but like I want you to explain to people how, like, for people who don't know where SMU is or what SMU, like how good SMU is as a school.
Well, for one, when I was going through the process and I looked back at it, I was looking at like what head coaches are talking to you. Like if I can tell a player anything, if the head coach himself is recruiting you, that is a school that really likes you.
Wow.
Because the recruiting process from both sides, like I've seen the behind the closed doors where coaches are talking to themselves, and like I've watched coaches delegate dudes that they don't like. They're like, oh, he's all right. Like, all right, you go talk to him. And I've seen him when he's really coach really interested, being like, I like this dude. Get him on the phone with me tonight. And when I understood that transferring out, I was like, okay, what head coaches are hitting my line? Like what people that are the decision makers, who's getting minutes, how I'm going to play you is hitting my lines. And it came down to SMU and Colorado. I really liked both of them equally because the Colorado coach at the time had worked under Coach Brown, Larry Brown, and he was like, hey, I love Coach Brown. So if you went there, I wouldn't even be mad. Like, I get it. Coach Brown, I really liked him because he was the only coach I can say that when I transferred, he hit my line and was like, I love you. Like you're a great player, great dude. Like, I hope everything works out for you. And when I was at Arkansas my freshman year, he would watch the games and hit me up after the games and be like, hey, I think you could do this. I saw this. And I was like, dang, he not even a head coach. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's unheard of for like a head coach at another school to like be on some, you didn't come here, but I'm watching your games. This is how I think you could play better and help. I always kept that in the back of my mind. And I remember after I took my official visits, I was like, okay, it's SMU or Colorado. Which one do I want to go to? Because both of them were like real good fits for me. And I remember the Colorado coach hit me up and he was like, hey, I really want you to come here, but there's a 7-foot dude that wants to commit. And I've been trying to like hold him off for you, but like we can't hold a 7-footer off for so long. And I felt like that was my that was like a sign. And I was like, all right, it's all good. Like I'm gonna commit to SMU.
That was that blessing in disguise. Yeah. And so then now you're at SMU. And for people who don't know this is before you could transfer and immediately play.
Oh
so,
yeah.
Like, you have to sit a year.
That
so
seems
like
like ages
there
ago.
Now.
That seems like ages ago, man.
Yeah.
Sitting on that time, you're not doing nothing.
Yeah. So you're there now and you're considered redshirt now. What was your regimen? Because I know for me, my redshirt year, oh man, I would be seeing guys play, leaving, going to practice. Like I was just like, oh my God, I'm extremely bored. Like, what is going on? So for you, what was it like?
Hooper, I had never done anything like that, like taking a year off not playing, and it sucked. Like I work out before practice, I practice, work out a little bit after, and then if you want me to be completely honest, party. Literally out. And when the team left to go on away games, I went with like one of our managers and we would just hang out and party. That's all I did to pass the time. Like you can't do anything else. Like if you're not working out, you're watching the games on TV or you're sitting on the bench when it's a home game. It sucks. It's like the worst. I'm so glad they changed that rule.
But did you learn to look at the game from a different perspective, like during that?
It was interesting sitting on the side and like watching high level basketball because we were like 30-2 that year in like regular season, like 30-4. So like watching high level basketball from the side and like seeing what coaches see, because sometimes you're on the court, coach tell you something you like, I don't feel that when I'm out here, but like seeing the game as a whole and not from like a first person point of view, it feels like you're like third person and you're just watching everybody. Like you're watching backside rotations on defense. You're watching how dudes are guarding ball screens. You're watching what your players are doing wrong, how a dude could have cut here, should have stayed up. Like I was like, oh, so this is what coaches be seeing. And it does, if you're watching and in tune, like it can help you expand your game for sure.
What was the most interesting thing you learned either about yourself or about the game of basketball during that redshirt year?
I think I learned how to make pieces fit well and like understanding why pieces of a team don't fit well. So like watching and being like, okay, as if I was a coach, right? Because every coach has their different perspective. And I'm watching guys play together and I'm like, dang, like we can't put this guy in this position. So when I'm out there, I shouldn't put him in this position because he's really not that good at that or he doesn't like doing that. And it's more so for like your own players, but then looking at other teams and being like, okay, we're going to play this team next year. This coach likes to coach this style. He's going, okay, bet. So when we play him next year, we can move here, move these pieces here. We can attack a guy here. He's not good at doing this. Let's see if he gets better next year. I think the greatest example of that was they lost to USC my sit-out year, first round of the tournament. USC went to a 2-3 zone, and that's basically why we end up losing. We sort of froze up in like the clutch time, like last 8 minutes of the game, sort of froze up, didn't have anybody that could really attack the middle of the zone. Fast forward, they have the same team next year, and we play them at home, and they're ranked like 15 in the country. We're playing. It's like a back and forth. They were playing, man. They go to the same zone in the same part of the game that they did the year before. But this time, like Dre knows, I really like to play in the mid range. So I'm instantly tell coach, I'm like, hey, let's switch it up. Instead of the 4, put him at my spot. Throw the 4 out to the corner at the top of the key. Let me play the middle and flash in the middle. We end up scraping them when they go to the zone, like blow up in like a 10, 12-point lead. And it's just funny because thinking back to that moment of watching from the outside, I was thinking about that. Like, I remember last year when they did this, and I'm inserting myself here. So it's like, it's things like that. Like when you're like really in tune with the game and watching what's going on, like knowing how to work pieces, knowing how to work your pieces like a chessboard.
And And so you talk about that, especially playing like USC with them being ranked. I looked up some of the stats. I think you guys beat the most ranked teams that year.
You want to hear a crazy stat?
Yeah, but
we won the most games against ranked teams, I think, in college basketball that year, and we did not make the tournament.
Whoa. Wait. What?
We had the most top 15 wins in the college basketball and the most ranked wins in like school history, all these crazy stats, right? But we didn't make the tournament because we played like what was it, Dre? Like a 6 or 7 man rotation.
Yeah.
And
So
got injured. One broke his thumb. He's in the NBA, Shake Milton, and then the other one, Dre, like tore his ACL. So then like we just ended up losing too many games. And in our conference, if you're not finishing top 2, you're not going to go to the tournament.
And this is when he's at you were at SMU specifically with was Larry Brown there at the time, or was that
like the first 3 months, and then he ended up leaving.
Yeah, I remember that. So then now you're coming into your this is now your junior year, right?
Sorry, I'm still in shock from that, bro.
You're still in shock from that? Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Like I remember sitting there watching, and they played. Was it Arizona when they had
in the country when they had
they were top 5. They had Aiton, and when I say they tore them apart, I want to say I won by 20.
We worked Arizona. In the Bahamas.
Wait.
Yeah.
This was the 2017-2018 season, right?
Yeah.
I remember that game. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. We were in the Bahamas. We wanted that when we found out we were going to Bahamas with them. That was like a game in our heads because preseason they were like either number 1 or number 2 or whatever they were, and we were like, we're gonna have an opportunity to play them. Like that's a game we want. And then we finally got it, and then we ended up working them. I think the ranked teams we beat that year was Arizona. They were 2. USC was 15. Wichita State was like 23 or 24. Boise State, when they had the Chandler dude, the light-skinned dude, I forgot his last name. Boise State was ranked in the 20s somewhere. And I think it was Wichita State again when they were ranked, or somebody else.
They were moving on teams.
Yeah, but we would say it all year, like we were one injury away from like being really good to being like not good at all, because we played literally 6 guys 40 minutes a game. We did not sub. We had one dude coming in and out. Like everyone's playing 40.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Because Sean already know what I'm talking about, but that sounds
very
familiar. Sounds very familiar. Yeah, I get it.
And the crazy, we did it the year before. We played a 6-man rotation, and we were like 30-4, and people were saying it the year before, and then finally it caught up with us, and we were unlucky and had 2 people get injured. And then we just end up losing too many games, and then just like, you can't get in. Then you end up having to win your tournament. We made it to the game before the championship game. Then you end up losing. Just run out of gas.
What, 4 games in about 6 days? You got to win?
Yeah. Win 2. Try to win that third one. You're just gas. You just don't got nothing because the team you're playing had a bye. You know what I mean? The team you play got a bye. So it's just like, just didn't have enough.
And so that was your junior year, right?
Yeah.
So this is your junior year. So now it's your senior year, and you're bad. You're now what? That was when you were thinking about going back to Arkansas, right?
Yeah. So that was my last year at SMU. That stuff happened. So then the next year comes around, and they were asking me what I wanted to do, and I was like, well, I was thinking about staying, honestly. I was like, there's really no point in me like transferring again. But I had the option, and I remember my parents always just being like, if you have options, you should at least look at them. So I remember telling my coach, like, hey, I'm not transferring. I'm not saying I'm going to transfer, but like I do want to check my options out. He was cool about it. He was like, as you should, like as a grad, like you have that option. And again, this is before you could like transfer and play right away. So like having the grad year was like sort of rare. Like not everybody really had that. Like you had to either leave, sit out, or medical or whatever. So I did that. And then my brother, this is crazy enough. So my brother worked for Coach Eric Musselman at Nevada. And then the year I decided to transfer, he just so happened, like in the middle of me going through the process, getting the job at Arkansas when it opened up. So my brother like hit my line up and he was like, yo, you gotta at least take an official there. Like, trust me, like Coach Muss is like that dude. He's had transfer players like you before, like you'd thrive there. So I was like, all right, bet. Like I've been around Coach Muss when I was at Nevada a little bit. Seems like a cool dude, whatever. Then he went back to Arkansas, which I thought was interesting because I did really like going to Arkansas as a school. I like the atmosphere, the gym, everything. 22K when it's filled up top to bottom. So I went on my official, talked to him, and that's really where he sold me on the official. Just like Muss' planning, like probably, which I always tell people, that's why he's so good. Like his planning off the court when it terms of like how he knows the player's game top to bottom and how he knows other teams and like the prep before games. It sold me and I wanted to win. Like I wanted to make it to the tournament. And I felt like that was my best chance. And I felt like I could really go there and he would just like play your game. And I was like, I get to play at that Power 5 level again. So I felt like it was an opportunity I could pass up. And my brother wasn't going to let me pass it up. So I was like, all right, I'll go back, which was interesting. It was like a funny feeling going back.
Well,
No,
go ahead, Pedro.
I was saying, I don't know if anybody peeped it. It was the like, I mean, I guess I can go back. It wasn't.
That's how what like I'm telling you, because you got to think when Coach Brown left SMU, I almost considered coming home and going to Mizzou because I was like, man, like I just transferred from school. I get here and then Coach Brown leaves within like a couple months because of some other stuff going on. And I was just like, I thought to myself, like, I'm sort of tired of it. Like, let me just go home to the crib and at least I'm comfortable. My boys are there. This, down to third. But then Coach Brown convinced me to stay and play for the new coach. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And then when I'm transferring, I'm sitting there thinking, like, do I really want to leave and go to another school and, like, do the whole process over of, like, if I go to a new school, I got to get to know new teammates. I got to get to know the new coach. And I only got a year. Like, you get 1 year to perform. And if any one thing, because I've seen horror stories, like, dudes transfer grad year, they get somewhere and they don't play. Like, we had dudes on my Arkansas team, when I grad transferred that came in with me, didn't play and felt like their careers were, like, ruined from that point on, because then you want to go be a pro and teams are looking at you like, well, what happened your last year of college? A whole bunch of stuff, right? So then that's my mindset. But when my brother, who I trust with my life, is like, you have to go here, and I got to talk to the guy and he had this grand scheme and plan, I was like, you know what? I trust it. I'm going to go there. And it ended up working out exactly how I wanted to. So I couldn't have asked for much better.
So you're back at Arkansas now. Same school, but now different program, new head coach. What were the expectations for you guys your grad year?
The outside expectations were like, it didn't matter if we were good that year. Because, when that first year of coaching, they're always like, well, you got to give him a year to be like, you got to give the coach a year to get his players in and this, that, and the third. What I liked about it was Coach Muss, from the very first day he got us all together, he was like, I don't care what anyone says. We're winning this year. Like, I'm not going to come in here on some, it's going to take a year. No, we're winning this year right now. Like, I don't like losing. And that's why I liked about him so much. And he was like, I'll do anything it takes to win. Like, if he has to take his shirt off and run around the entire stadium like he does to, like, get his players or get recruits, and, like, he's going to do whatever it takes. That dude's a pure winner. Like, he does not care about anything else. And I respect that as a coach. I respect.
Also, no, go my fault, Jimmy.
No, I was just saying, I respect coaches that, like, like, there's no gray area. I know what I'm getting from you, good, bad, and ugly. And I know what your goal is. Like, you're like, I want to win. And if you can help me win, I'm going to do that. And I can respect that, especially in the coaching world.
And I just want to preface this. Jimmy, how tall? Unofficially, how tall are you?
Officially, I'm like 6'1" and a little bit.
Okay. So for those people who watched you, was it 2019 and 2020 that year that you transferred? Yeah. So 2019 and 2020. This is what your senior year, your final year. You've been in the gym, you've been in everything. Like you ready for it. Jimmy was playing the 4 sometimes.
My last year of college, I started at the 1, but I would end at the 5.
Yeah. So this is my thing of when you know how we always talked about, I'm like, hey, I don't give an excuse to people who are like you're 6'5" and over. I don't give you an excuse. Like
you.
go out there and play. I'm not
Yeah.
6'5". I'm 6'3" at best.
I think that was the big thing about my last year is that, like, so we get in there. Obviously, he's trying to figure out everything, whoop-de-whoop. So I'm playing like the 1, how I usually like to play. We're playing going on, and then it gets to about mid-season. We're winning. We were winning a lot non-conference. We get into conference, sort of up and down, and he gets to this point where he's like, in practice one day, he's like, you know what? I just feel like we're better when all of our guards are out there. So if our bigs don't start playing well, what's the point of me playing y'all? I'll just play all of our guards. And like everybody's like coaches are like, hey, coach, this ain't the Mountain West. Like, this is the SEC. Like, I don't know if we can do that. Like, these dudes is carrying 6'10", 240 big bodies down there that don't do nothing but jack you with the right shoulder hook. Like, they don't got no moves, no bag. Coach Muss is like, I don't care. If y'all want to be great, you better play. So I remember the first game he did it. He subs 2 of our guards in, shorter than me. So I'm looking around. I'm like, dang, who's finna guard the big? Who got big buddy? I'm like, dang. I'm pretty sure we're playing like Texas A&M or something. And I'm sitting there looking around like, dang, who's gonna guard buddy? He, you know what I mean? 6'7", maybe 280, big body, big stocky dude. He looked at me and he said, Jimmy, you got to do it. And I was like, hey, I'm not soft down here. And then it was a blessing and a curse because we were really good playing 5 guards. But boy, my back at the end of the season, hey, boy, my back trying to box out these big bodies. They're just throwing elbows down there. It got to the point where I just started reaching and fronting. Like, if they caught it in the post, I'm reaching every time. Behind the back reach, if I don't get it, I'm looking at coach like, hey, I'm not going to bruise with these dudes down here.
Like a parallel, his belly so bad.
Or I'm doing a hard front. The front where I'm like, backside, help, backside. Like, where you're just shouting for backside help. And if it goes over your head, you just shrug your shoulders like, hey, somebody better get back there.
Like, yo, I did my job. So
yeah.
Hey, and this is why it's funny because I remember watching, I think y'all were playing, was it Kentucky? They put you down there at the 5?
Oh, yeah, with those 2. That was when they had what's Buddy's name? He plays for
Charlotte now.
Yeah.
Um,
first name's Nick or something.
Yeah, Nick. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. But so I was watching, right, and I was like, I'm watching. I'm like, yo, it's like, all right, he's controlling the game, starting at the point. It was you and I think another dude, and another dude like
played point. Jalen Harris, J5. We called him J5. Me and him had played point.
So they were playing point, and I'm watching. And I'm like, oh, like they getting to it. Like they're giving Kentucky all they want. Close game, and then all of a sudden I see sub, and I'm like, yo, who's guarding the big? I had to like look at my screen a little bit closer. I was like, let me get closer to the TV. I said, why is this man guarding 6'10"? He's 6'1". But like, it was funny because Nick couldn't score on him. Like he couldn't do anything. And then on the other end, you just see Jimmy doing his usual thing of, hey, give me the ball anywhere in that middle space, and I'm gonna give us a bucket. And I want to say at a point in time, were you top 5 in the SEC in scoring?
Yeah, there was a time, I always think back to this, and I'm like, I let my pride get in the way, but I was at one point like top 3 in like the first 4 or 5 games of scoring in the SEC. And then I remember thinking back to SMU, I'm telling you, my back was messed up for like a week, and I really shouldn't have played that week of games. But I remember Coach Muss just being like, hey, we need you. And you know me, I'm thinking I'm a Superman, so I'm like, I got you. I'm out there. Boy, I wasn't worth nothing, and we lost too. That's what killed me. I said I wasn't worth nothing, and we lost. Like I couldn't do anything, and we lost. I was like, what was the point? But yeah, I'm pretty sure I went that week of like 4 points, and I had a goose egg against Auburn, like my first goose egg in college. It was sick work. 40 minutes of a goose egg, and I was just he was just dogging me after the game too. I can't. One of our best players started. He can't get one. You can't score 1 point. And I said, Coach, my back. Like I tried. I could not move. It was bad though. It was bad. It was a pathetic performance for sure. Pathetic.
So it gets to, I want to say around tournament time, and that's when obviously I think everybody in this chat, everybody in this
The
this
COVID.
recording got affected with COVID.
That boy King got us.
But like I want to say up until that point, you guys were actually in those, was it 63? Were you guys like 63rd or 62nd to get in?
So we went into the tournament. We had a span where we had one of our Isaiah Joe, who's on the Thunder right now. He had got injured for like 4 or 5 games, and we went on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak. Because again, we only played like 6 dudes, and like only me, him, and really Mason Jones like shot the ball for real. Like Mason averaged 22, me and Zay averaged like around 15, 16. So you take 16 points a game out in college, like that's a lot.
That's huge. Yeah.
That's like huge. So that happens. We go on like a 5 game losing streak of losing by like anywhere between like 3 to maybe 6 points. We get Zay back for the last 2-3 games of the season. We go on a win streak. So then they were like, we are whatever you get. But getting the Popeyes or my fault. But
Popeyes.
But so we go into the conference tournament, like the SEC tournament, and they were like, everybody, Jay Billis, all these people are like, Arkansas is on the fringe right now, and if they like win a couple games in the SEC tournament, like basically we'll see how it goes if they could get in. We win the first game versus Vandy, and then we were on the first 4 in. So like we come into the locker room and we were about to play. And we had a great lineup. So we played Vandy in the first round. We beat Vandy. The next team we were going to play is South Carolina, which is a matchup we were like everyone in the world knew like they're going to beat South Carolina. They have the full team healthy. Like they were going to scrape South Carolina. We're getting them off the map. Like we're not worried about them. Then we would have played LSU, and we just had LSU's number. They came in second in our conference, but like some teams you just have their number, just killed LSU. Like got them at their crib. Then we played them for senior night at our crib. I had like 26, 15, and 5. Like I used to kill LSU every time. So we were like, we love this matchup. But then everyone was saying, so we're the first 4 in after the Vandy game. If we beat South Carolina, we're guaranteed in. So they're like, you beat South Carolina, you're guaranteed in. You don't got to win another game. So then we're thinking, okay, beat South Carolina, we're in the tournament. If we beat LSU, we could get like I think they said the highest, like a 9 seed. And we're like, dang, a 9 seed solid for like, and then we're thinking, okay, we get a good matchup. We could either be a first round loss team or go to the Sweet 16, because like we were a big matchup team. If we got the right matchups, like we could really get after some teams. I remember resting my head after having this, like he called us in, had all this conversation I'm having with y'all. Like if we do this, we could go this route. We're hyped up, right? Hyped up, ready to smack South Carolina. Right before I go to bed, I'm roommates with Isaiah Joe, and he looked at me and he was like, do you think we're going to play tomorrow? Because we were looking at all this COVID stuff happening. I remember looking at him, and I was like, you know what's crazy? I really don't think so. I think our season's over. And then right before I rest my head, I saw a message, and it said the Big Ten is considering like stopping their tournament. And I was like, if they stop their tournament, it just takes one conference to pull the trigger before everyone else has to follow suit. I woke up the next morning, and all I saw on ESPN was Big Ten cancels the tournament. A couple hours later, coach called us, hey, we got to meet downstairs. I knew it. I was like, all right, the season's over. Like, he called us in, like, everybody's bawling, crying, just like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, season's over, tournament's canceled, this, that, and the third. It was a weird feeling because at one point I was like, dang, I really wanted to play in the NCAA tournament. Like, that would have been cool. Then another part of me is like, hey, this is my 5th year college, boys. I don't care. Like, I'm done with this anyway. It's time for me to go. My time's done. Time to pack it up, fellas. I love y'all, boys, but get me to the crib. It's over. So I was like, it was just funny because everybody was crying, and me and the other grads, we were just looking at each other like, hey, that's how it happens sometimes, boys. It is what it is. It is what it is.
So what's funny is, so as soon as like we heard about COVID, I think we played a game, and I was like, dang. I said on that, like right after our game, we were in England. Right after our game, I said, hey, treat every game like it's your last because you never know what
He
happens.
did say that. Dre did say that.
Hey, 3 days later, we got a text message that said, we are considering closing down all Premier League games and all local league games. Please be by your phones, and we're going to postpone this game.
Just that
Bro,
quick.
I said, oh, we're not playing again. I texted
Yeah,
we're not playing again. We're not going to be able to do anything, bro.
See, I was super naive because Jay was trying to tell me this. And I was like, nah, bro, we're still gonna play. I was like, in my mind, like I was thinking to myself, they're not gonna cancel the whole season, bro. Like, there's no way that's gonna happen.
That was my teammates. Some of my teammates were like, bro, there's no way, right? Like, we're gonna have the games, there's gonna have no fans, this, that, and third. And I'm like, fellas, I don't think you understand again the business side from the NCAA. If one conference is like, we're done playing, if anyone even coughs the wrong way and conferences kept playing, like the lawsuit could be astronomical. Like it's over with if somebody plays, someone gets COVID, and then God forbid, knock on wood, somebody were to die too. Like, oh, they're done. Like the NCAA is coming off at least 20 M's. Like it's wrapped for you. Like, from a business side, I can understand like it's too big of a risk. Like in that moment, so I was like, yeah, they're gonna cancel it all.
Hey, you remember what I said? I said, bro, treat every game like it's your last. I went out there, had 30 out of 30 ball. And then next thing you know, we got canceled. I said, bro, no.
Sent you to the crib. Sent you to the crib with a mask on that said, be safe.
So now you're coming up on the decision. And then for everybody, like for the COVID year, you got an extra year, but you already said like in your head, hey, I'm done. Like I'm out of this college space. Like I'm completely done.
The crazy part is, so I was on the I was the last group that they're like, you don't get your extra year, but every other sport and year gets an extra year. So like in the moment I was done. I was like, I'm done with college. I wouldn't come back. COVID is like, it's so funny. There's a group of people that like are looking right now. And they're like, hey, COVID was the best thing that happened to me. Like I got to stay. I got the NIL deals. Like they get all this good stuff. And then I'm on the other end of COVID where I didn't get to go to the little Reese's All-Star game. I didn't get to go to Portsmouth, the little three, like all this stuff just got canceled for like a year. And I was just like, dang, I ain't got nothing to do. And then the very next year, they're like, hey, we can start paying athletes now. And I'm like, wow, this is sick. This is sick. I got people that I went to school with that were in college, like not the next year because everything was shut down, but when things got back going, I had people I went to college with that were in college getting NIL bread and like their COVID year back. I was disgusted. I said, hey, this is sick. This is sick work from the NCAA. We were the only sport too. Obviously the sports that finished before us, like football, but we were like on the fringe. Like they were like basketball was too far into the season. Like you don't get your year back. But then like the baseball teams and stuff that had just started in other sports, they all got their year back. And I'm pretty sure that the next year got their year back too.
Yeah. So like, if you remember, I think I want to say DeJuan, he got an extra year because and we were like, I was like, yo, that is insane. I was like, hey, we've been, I was like, they got people that missed out on NIL, the extra year in college, like all this other stuff that you want when you're playing there. It's like, dang.
I'll be honest, I'm always keeping a buck. Forget the extra year. Give me the bread. I want the bread. I could care less about trying to make that tournament. Give me the bread. Bread. I can't believe I missed some NIL money.
You are a meme right there, sir. You are officially a meme on that.
They talk about another year to make the tournament. I said, nah, that's another year to make $100K. What are we talking about? Give me the money.
So now you're done. You're like, I'm done. I'm out here with college. You graduated. What was in your head? What was next? Like, how is that process now to get to your next destination, which was the NBA? So like now what's the plan?
Man, so coming out, it was rough. So I came out, all the little stuff that as a senior you need, like Portsmouth, that's where like, so like, I always like to start with this. Like when you come out, it's funny how the whole process works. When you are coming out of college, that group that's exiting out, whether you're a first year you leave or last year, that's really your time to get shine. So it's like that group that's coming out, NBA teams are like, okay, we're hyper focused on this group. Like, we're going to put all our focus into you, this, that, and the third. But once that group's gone and that next year of like soldiers comes through, the graduating class, whatever, the group before, they don't pay any mind to except the people that like, okay, you did good. We sort of liked you. We're going to keep you. So like when my group came out, we had the COVID stuff. So they couldn't, we were at the beginning of like our stages of talking to teams and stuff, like setting up NBA workouts. But that year they had to forego it, couldn't do no NBA workouts and stuff. So when that next year's group came in, we're all thinking like, okay, bet, like no way the process doesn't, like they don't bring us back to like talk to our group or like give us an opportunity. They were like, oh, no, that's not how this business works. Like, it sucks to be y'all. You got to go figure it out. So then like our entire group of people that year, we're just like, dang, like we don't got any opportunity. So you really like got to figure it out, like get in where you fit in. So it was like almost 2 years of me actually not playing basketball, like just working out and trying to figure out like, all right, COVID's starting to end. What leagues are open? Where can you get in? Type deal. It was like a rough little 2 years of just trying to figure it out.
What was that
Or like
process
1.5 years, like 1.5.
Mentally for you? What was that like? That time period of not playing for 2 years.
I think mentally it was rough because this is the period before I found that good Lord. So it's really just me out here trying to figure things out. And then it's dealing with the fact of like I was in that group of guys that like you got to prove it. So like you need those opportunities at Portsmouth and like these NBA workouts to go prove yourself. Because if you don't, they can only go back to like the college stuff. But then they're like, well, that was 2 years ago. Like by the time they're looking at tape and stuff, they're like, well, we don't know how good you are. Like that's 2 years ago. And in their mind, with time, people get worse, which is like from their perspective, it's logical, I guess. Like the older you get, the worse you get. So they're like, why take a chance on people that needed to prove themselves in the moment? And now it's been 2 years. Like you might have gotten worse. Like, let's just go with the group that we've just seen come out. So it was hard trying to like really deal with hitting people up. And they're just like, no, like, we're not going to give you an opportunity because we're giving other people an opportunity, like just how the business goes. So it was rough, just like constant no's or constant, like you got something good going. And then it's like, oh, COVID, like it gets shut down. Like just a year of like either a no or it got shut down is like hard trying to deal with it, especially like real life get tricky. You got to pay some bills. You know what I mean? Like real life, you don't get the comfort of college no more where I got a place to sleep, food. Like I'm not worrying about none. You're sitting there like, dang, basketball was how I was supposed to make bread. So what do I got to do now? Like just finding a way. But like luckily being blessed with like family and good people in your life. And then like you do stuff here and there. But that I feel bad for my group every time I think back. Like my agent talks about it to this day because me and my agent are super close. He was like, I don't know how like you stayed in it and like you really just didn't say like forget it. Cause I had a lot of friends that were like, I'm done basketball. Like, I quit. Like it's been too long. I got things to do. I want to start my life, which I could understand, but like me, I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I was like, I would have so much regret if I had stopped.
So what was your what was your response when you were able to receive that first opportunity at the next level? How did that first opportunity come about?
It was so I was with before the agent I have now, which I was with him, and then some other opportunities came around and we had talked about. He was like, I want you, I'll never like, he was like, he was a real one. He was like, I'll never hold you back, so go try it. So I was with like the Clutch agency type, like not exactly Clutch, but like in that little group type deal.
Subsidiary of it, yeah.
And like it just didn't, in the best possible way I can say it, it didn't turn out or how I expected it to or how other people expected it to. So then I was at a point where like it was like make or break, where I was like, oh, I really might not hoop professionally. Like if I let one more year pass by, like it's over. Like at that point, teams were like, you ain't hooped in 2 years, like you're done.
Dude,
like
those gap years are killer, man.
Yeah. So then I talked to my current agent. He was like, hey, I'm gonna hit up a whole bunch of teams for you, like G League teams and stuff. So I ended up something like, this is by the grace of the Lord too. I ended up they hit my agent back and was like, yo, we really like Jimmy from Arkansas. And crazy enough, we had a dude that was signed to our training camp for our G League team. And like, for some reason, the league was like, he can't come. So they were like, we have a spot for training camp, like if he wants to come, and we'll see if he can make the final roster. So I went there and I just like did what I usually do. I just like hooped basically, like, and they really liked me. They really messed with me. And that's how the first opportunity came, just to be in Cleveland and play on that team. And that was the first year they moved the G League team to the same city as the Cavs. So like I got to go into practice. I'm seeing like Kevin Love, Colin Sexton, and like Darius Gar. Like I'm seeing those guys like every day. So like just to be around that atmosphere was like a blessing after like basically 2 years of not doing anything.
And so now like you got your opportunity, and I want to say you took advantage of it. And
oh yeah.
How, like, what changed? Like now, what was your role? Because I know from like that jump from college to the pro level, regardless of where the pro level is, like it's a jump and it's a grind. So like, what's your mindset now, and like, what was it for you?
So my mindset going in there was like, especially if you're dealing with anything, I would say NBA related, G League, anything NBA related, like that is a business. And I would tell people, if you're going to do it, know the job, know your role that you are, I would say, quote unquote, interviewing for. So I'm going in there, as much as you want to play your game and like you have to play your game, you gotta go a certain way about it. Cause like you have two-way guys, you have affiliate guys, you have guys that they're like, we have invested a lot of money into seeing them play well. So if you are detracting from our investment, like you're taking away from that, you got to go. Like we're not putting millions of dollars into this dude to watch you go out there and try to take all the shots or do this and that. So like you really got to utilize your minutes that you're going to get. Because from where I was at, I was like bottom of the totem pole. So we could have, there was times where, let's say, like there's a week where I was getting like around 20 minutes a game, which is like good for the position I was at. Then we had two guys come down from the NBA team. We had Dylan Windler come down, and we had Kevin Pangos for like 2 weeks. And then there's 2 weeks where I don't even smell the court, because it's like there's only so many minutes in a game. If they come from the top, someone's got to get pushed down. So it's like you really have, like, it's like a more mental grind and always being ready to like take advantage of the time you get out there. Because like you don't know if you're going to get 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Like you don't know if you're not going to play that week, especially if you're at that lower, like bottom totem pole. Like you gotta make sure you are really on it, your P's and Q's at all times, because you don't know when that opportunity is going to come.
And so then you're playing, you're getting into it. What do you think what would you say was one of your best games that you had while you were with the Cavs G League team?
I think I started to find my groove around December. So the first month I was really trying to figure it out. I've never really been in the position of like not playing or like coming off the bench and stuff. So really trying to like get in where you fit in, trying to figure out my role. You're not going to have the ball in your hands as much, like trying to do little things that will get you those more minutes. And as you get more minutes, your role will increase. So I think around December, though, when we went to Vegas, I had 2 really good games in Vegas. So like, I think one game like 12-6, and then one game like 10-9, like almost like a double. And like, pretty sure I played like around 22 minutes. And that's when I like started to catch a groove. And that's when like the coaches they're coming. They're like, hey, like you keep doing this, like, hey, you're about to start seeing stuff grow and like do well. So that's when I started to catch a groove in the G League and really start being like, okay, this is how it goes.
So after that Vegas experience, then what comes next? What happened next after that?
So like, this is where I say the life was like highs and lows. So like it was going good, and then the league calls every team, and they're like, hey, it's like save money or whatever it was. They basically had to drop a roster spot. Like every team was cutting a roster spot in general to like save money. I lasted like 4 other dudes that were like getting cut and stuff, but I was technically signed as a local tryout player. So you got your 2-ways, you got your affiliates, returners, and then local tryout. So when they were like, you got to get rid of a roster spot, I was the only local tryout player or signed as a local tryout player at that time. So they like called me into office and they were like, yo, like, we really hate this. Like, we don't want you to go. But like the league said we got to get rid of a spot. And like business wise, you're the only spot we can get rid of. And that was literally right after Vegas. So I'm like, dang, I was just catching a groove. Then I'm on the way to the crib. So I'm back at the crib. And then I was there for like a little minute because that was around like January or February. Yeah. And you know, with hoopers, like seasons are going, like you're either waiting for somebody to get cut or like it's about to be summertime. You know what I mean? It's about to be summer. You better get back in that weight room in that gym. So it was like a terrible time to get cut. But that's ended up what happened basically.
I'll say I can attest to that. You were grinding. I remember that specifically, just that point. And then for you, I would say for you, how was that like in your head? Was that one of the first times you were ever really cut?
That was the first time I was ever cut, but I wasn't at that moment. I wasn't like mad or felt no type of way because I understood it from a business perspective of being like, hey, brother, you're the only one that can, like, especially because up to that point, I watched like 5 other guys that were signed as like returners get traded or cut. So in my brain, I'm like, I lasted out 5 other dudes, which means what they say in terms of they didn't want to get rid of me, I can be a little bit confident in that because on one hand, it's like they've had plenty of opportunities to do it. And if they wanted to, they would have. But there's also the side of it, like at the end of the day, if they really wanted to keep you, they would have. They would have just booted somebody else. So like there's both sides of it. But thinking about it, I wasn't really upset in that moment. I was just like, it is what it is type deal.
I want to give you a little bit of credit, Jimmy, because I know you said like if they want to keep you, would have kept you. But at that level, it is more business oriented than opposed to like who's just the better player. So I just want to give you the credit. Like that's harsh to say that, but like
battle, right? That's the mental battle you go through. Because on one hand, I was like, you lasted 5 other dudes. Like they could have got rid of you those other times if they wanted to.
Right.
And this situation was like the only thing that spurred them getting rid of you. So it's like that battle of being like, well, if they wanted to keep you at the end of the day, they would have, but there's a business thing. And I think that's why personally, I was just like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not upset about it or I don't feel no type of way.
Right. And I'm sure you've seen this before, Jimmy, being at that level. Like a lot of times guys might get jobs because their agent knows another agent that knows the GM. And so they owe that guy a favor. And so then a lot of guys get deals that way as well.
It is a who you know game for sure. It ain't no if you think it's normal hoops, I'll be telling people at that level it's business first. These teams are corporations first, and then they're basketball teams.
I agree. So what was so mentally, man, like or just like what did that experience, that specific moment right there, like when you transitioned from the G League and now you're back home, like what did that moment right there teach you?
That moment just showed me about the business side of it a little bit more. It gave me a little bit more motivation and grind to be like, you started to catch a groove. Like it's like you tasted it. I tasted like, oh, that dream, right? That dream you had since you were a kid. It's like, you feel like you're one step removed because like I'm in the same building practicing as Kevin Durant. Kevin Love. Like I'm in the same vicinities. I'm right there. I'm hooping with guys that some of them played in the NBA already and stuff. So you feel like you're right there. And then when you get cut, it's like, okay, you got a little bit more to go, like a little bit more grinding to do. So that was my mindset in that moment of just stay with it. You were right there. Like, let's get back at it.
And so then I know you're back in the grind mode. You're back in you're back home. What's the question is, I know it's annoying of like, yo, so what's next? Like, what's your opportunities now? And that question, I know for every single person is hard, but for you, what was your, like, what's next for you? Like, what are you doing to prepare yourself for the next new opportunity that may be coming?
So in that moment, I had the option of like, do you want to go overseas or do you want to try the G League stuff again? And I was like, you know what? It went well last time. I want to try the G League stuff again. So I had overseas opportunities I could have done. But my agent was like, bet, like, we're going to do what you want to do. So we went into basically the same process before, just hitting teams up, seeing about workouts and stuff. But I was in the mode of like, I was too prideful in the moment. So my brain was like, I hate that I did this looking back. It was like, well, I played for a G League team, so I'm not going to do workouts for another team when I went straight to training camp before. So like anything less than that, I would say no to. So like if a team was like, hey, we like you, but we want you to come work out, I was like, yeah, why would I do that when I could just go to training camp again? So that's where like my mind was at. So like I went through that however many months or whatever, and then there's basically the process starts back over. Memphis hit me up and they were like, you can come to our training camp. So I was like, cool, like whatever. They invited me to a training camp. That's more than what these other teams were offering. Let me do that. Which wasn't, looking back, I mean, I didn't know this in a moment. It was an awful decision to do that. I should have done the workouts and then decided after.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Because Memphis was probably the biggest eye-opening experience, like probably life-changing for the better, even though it turned out bad in the moment. So I went to Memphis, and then after, like, so I'm going through the training camp and stuff, right? They were like, when I first went in, they said there's 4 of y'all competing for 2 spots. And I'm of the mindset is, I don't care who's in this. You put me in a room with 4 other dudes and say 2 of y'all got to come out alive. Not just like, you know what I mean? Like 2 spots out of 4, I'll be damned if I'm last. You know what I mean? Last, second to last. So I'm like, cool, I'm down with that. I get there. It's going really good. Like I'm playing well. Like the coaches are showing love, this and the third. But then I'm like, the dudes that came in with me that were like competing for the spots, I remember we were lifting and they were talking. They were like, hey, like, I'm pretty sure we going to the crib. And I'm looking like, I don't know who we is, gang. I don't know who we is. I'm doing my thing out here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then he was like, no, because I was talking to my agent and like, they only have 1 spot open. And I was like, 1? And he was like, and they just traded for the rights to a guy. So like they just acquired the rights to a guy and he was coming in like that next day. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, no, like I remember there being 12 spots, not 11. He was like, no, there's 11 spots and they just brought a dude in. So the 4 of us are to the crib. So I'm like, dang, no way they finessed us, right? I'm like, so I'm ignoring it, just sort of like, you know, I know how dudes talk, you know what I mean? And in my brain, I was like, I'm gonna be real. Y'all boys wasn't playing the best. You know what I mean? You wasn't hooping the best. So I'm, you know what I mean? I'm thinking it's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I get back to my room, my little hotel room, and I really start thinking about it. So I'm like, let me do a little bit of my research. It comes out, I'm like, oh, it is 11 spots. So I'm like, dang. So it is 1 open spot. And then logically, I'm like, they went and grabbed a spot from, like, they got a player. They just brought a player in. So I'm like, you wouldn't get the rights to a player to not keep them. So then I'm like, dang, did we just get finessed? Like, because keep in mind, I went there early before training camp to like play pickup. And without like the dudes that were there early, there wouldn't have been enough to like play and stuff. So then I'm like, dang, was I a training camp body? So then I started thinking, like, was I a training camp body? Like to where like it really didn't matter what I did type deal. And to this day, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm always going to keep it real. I felt like that ended up what it ended up being. Like, I felt personally like after it was all said and done and we had a scrimmage to where we had like a double in the scrimmage. Like I was hooping. And then after they called us into the room, they're like, hey, like, we just want you to know, like, you're not making the final roster spot. Whoop-de-whoop. We really liked you. Like, you were playing really well, but, you know, they give you the spiel or whatever. So then I come out, and all the 4 dudes that came in that were, quote-unquote, competing for the spot got cut. So then I'm like, dang, like, did I really end up being a training camp spot? Like a filler type deal. Which that is where I was like, damn. Like, that's what put me over the edge of, like, I've had too much. Like, that's when I started thinking about, dang, the COVID ruined all the stuff I had going after that. I got cut from the Cavs thing that was going good. Now I come here thinking it's an opportunity, and it really ended up not being. Or, like, from my perspective, whether that's true or not, we don't know at the end of the day. But from my perspective, that's what it felt like. So then, the thing I don't like about the G League stuff and the timing of all this is that if it doesn't work out for you, when you try to do the overseas stuff again, like you have to go into another like 2-month waiting period because like the started already. So now I'm like back at the crib again for like in a span of 3 years. Basically, I've played half of a season professionally. So I'm like, that's the moment I'm sitting on that couch and like my soul felt defeated. Like I felt like crying, like my soul, not even my physicalness felt like crying. I just felt defeated. Like, damn, like I've caught in the shit end of the stick every time. And I was like, I've given personally, physically as a human, everything I could give. And something in my brain, not even my brain, it was my soul talking. He was like, you got 2 options. You can quit and continue to do what you're trying to do, which has gotten you here. And something said, or you can give it to God, give it to Jesus, and give it all to him. Because there's personal stuff going on in my life too, with like my dad, and like he was sick and he had just recently passed away. So all this stuff, emotion comes to me at one time. And that's when I was like, in that moment, I literally remember, and I was like, God, I promise you this. I will praise you and give you all the praise if you just take all this burden that I feel off of me and never let me feel this again. Like, I don't care where you take my life, if it's not basketball, if it's whatever, I just don't want to feel like this again. And since that moment, like everything has been on the up and up.
That's bad, man. Just
Yeah,
I felt that right there, and I really did.
that's beautiful.
Seriously, man.
Yeah, that is, and that's crazy part is this is the first time I probably ever like talked about it with other people other than like my mom. Like that was like the worst point in my life. Like I haven't ever felt like that before. Like it was like a weird, like deep sadness that like it wasn't anything physical. It was like something deep inside, like felt like tearing up and like bawling, crying. It was like I'd never wanted to feel like that again.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm sure that especially that point was like you got where you wanted to, and you're one step away from like for every basketball players to get to the NBA, you're one step away from touching that league, and it was like, dang, it just kind of got pulled, the rug got pulled from under you. It felt like I'm sure.
And you go into that mode of like I'm thinking about back to high school, and I'm like, dang, in that moment, I'm like, do I feel like a failure to other people that were like rooting for me? Like, damn, did I just let the city down, let the homeboys down, let the family down? You know what I mean? Like, you start thinking like, damn, like they've been waiting for years to see like rooting you on and always being behind you. And I'm like, damn, am I gonna like fail here and then have to live with like the people being like, I don't think like that now, but in that moment, that's like all the stuff that was coming into me at like one time, just being like, dang, like I had people that literally did so much for me, and like to come here and it turns to nothing. It was just like a damn type feeling.
But you know, Jimmy, the people that truly support you and love you, like they're gonna be happy for you no matter the situation, like no matter what you go through.
Especially looking back now, my frame of mind after that moment of like growing and self-reflecting is like, I would say the biggest mindset change is like, I don't do anything now to like prove anybody right or wrong. I just do things to like prove the person that God wants me to be right. Like I want to prove God right, and like this is who I want him to be, and like that's who I want to project to the world.
And you know what, Jimmy? It's almost like when you were just talking, it made me think about how like a lot of times we have to get to that lowest point in our life, bro. That lowest point where we feel like we're the most defeated, and it's like we have nothing else. That's where God like gets us to show us like, yo, like I need you to rely completely and solely on me. And so like, he gets us to that point to increase our faith in him, bro. So I completely understand what you're talking about.
For sure. I just expect with the faith thing, I just feel like that was and I always think like, so God knows your path and your plan. I just felt like he took me through that because like, for one, he knew I wasn't ready for like the blessings he had for me. Like when I think back to how I thought in those days and like the person I was, basketball aside, I definitely wasn't ready for any like type of great blessing he had for me. Like I wasn't ready. Like I wouldn't have known how to handle it. It would have changed me. I would have done things I didn't want to do. He kept me from a whole bunch of problems. And as bad as I felt in that moment, he was like, you're going to feel worse down the road if you continue on the path you're on. And sometimes he got to show you like where it hurts the most.
Yeah. Yo, Jimmy, you talking right now, man.
I'm telling you, he doing that to you. He do that to you, man. I'm telling you. In the past 2 years, I've done so much growth I think Drake can attest that as a person, like the person I was in high school is like, it's just funny to think back, like the things I used to do and say. Drake knows, like I was a wild one. I'm not gonna lie to you. A wild one. No remorse, like no like filter on anything. I barely have a filter now, so you can imagine. I used to be like.
Oh
All
my
right, all right.
God.
So Jimmy, so talk to us, man. So you're back home again, like you said. We're spanning 3 years. I played half a season. So you're back home now after the Memphis training camp. What comes next? What happens next?
So then I had to get out Columbia because I just felt like I was talking to my mom, like I can't be productive in Columbia. I just feel like there's just, I don't know, it's weird vibes in Columbia. Like it's just, Drake can attest, like I just feel like it's a black hole. You get stuck in this very like you're very content in Columbia. Like you don't want to really do much. Ambition gets low and you're just like, I get that feeling when I'm back home. So I was like, I got to get back to Dallas. So I end up moving back here. And I had two homeboys that I played with in school that they were living there together. And they were like, bro, I have cousins here too, but they're like, hey, come and move in with us, bro. It'll be all good. Whoop-de-whoop. So I came here and I lived with a couple of different people. Like my sister, I lived with her. I'm staying with her right now, but I lived with her and I lived with two of my homeboys. And then I was just working out. I was just like, I was in the point of like a self-growth period of like, I'm just going to dive into that good word and just work out and just not even worry about what the future has. Like whatever God got for me, he'll give it to me in due time. So I was going through that. And then by the blessing, I randomly got a call from my agent. He was like, hey, there's opportunity in Mexico. They're looking for a player. They want you to come up there. You'll be on the team, this, that, and the third. And he was like, do you want to do it? And I was like, hey, send me anywhere. But it's always funny because growing up, I always used to be like, I don't want to go overseas. Like, I don't like it. To this day, I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. Like, I'll do it because my passion and, like, I think my calling's above that. But if you ask me as the person, like, I hate going overseas. I don't like it at all. Like, I'm just not that type of person. I'm one of those where when I get comfortable, I want to be there. Like, I'll end my life in Dallas. Like, I love Dallas. I have no passion to move or go anywhere else. I'm just that type of person. But I was like, send me anywhere, I'll do it. Like wherever I need to be. So I went to Mexico, and that was like that got me back to feeling, in terms of basketball wise, like I'm back to being who I really was as a player. Even in college, like I always didn't feel like I was the player I was supposed to be. But when Mexico came around and I came back, I was like, I'm back. Like, okay, I'm feeling good.
I was I can really, Jimmy, I can relate to you, man. Ever until you said that you want to be, you like staying in one spot, man. But like,
Oh, yeah, I'm not a big traveler. Like I'm not I gotta see the world. Hey, I could see nothing outside of Dallas for the rest of my life, and I'd be perfectly happy. Perfectly. I don't need it. Not a fan. Don't want to live nowhere else. I'm a simple man. Very simple.
True Texan, man. He's a true Texan. He's a
Ask
true
Drake, but I tell you in the group message, all I need is some bread and a good joint, and I'm cooling. Give me some bread and a good joint, and I'm good, fellas. I'm trying to tell you
guys. He's not lying. He's being 100% honest right now, and this is authentically him. He's telling the truth. But like, I want to say, the growth you had when you got your chance in Mexico, like, what spurred that about? And it wasn't even just like, I want to say, just like how you said, like, yo, I feel like I really just got back to myself. What were just those like little building blocks where you just seen like, all right, I'm taking the right steps in the right place? Like, what were those things you kind of seen along the way? Like, all right, what were you doing? Like, oh, I'm doing more. I'm back to my old self. Like I'm back to playing how I want to.
I think so. So going into it, I feel like I have like a clearer view of like everything, like being able to see things for what they are. My faith was at an all-time high. That like Like I was knee deep in it. I was excited to have an opportunity to actually just play basketball there. And it was like a clean slate. Like in Mexico, like they knew who I was, but not really. You know what I mean? Like we've seen some tape on you. We saw your numbers and we know you played at Arkansas, but past that, I couldn't really tell you anything about your game. So it's like you can be any person you want to be here. And it's like, where do I want to go? Where does the Lord going to take me? And it's like, I went back to like, I felt like high school, like how I was playing just free. Like you go there, you prove, it's like a proving thing. I go there, prove to people, they're like, oh, this dude's nice. Then it gets to the point where they're just like, hey, go out and just do your thing. Like just go hoop. And I just felt free out there, just hooping, playing. And it was back to like really enjoying basketball again. Like truly loving basketball. Like you're not dealing with the thinking about the politics of it or anything else, what this person wants you to do with that person. Like I was just out there hooping, just enjoying it.
That's all you can really ask for, especially at the professional level. I think, and Sean, you can attest to this too. Like you get to certain places, man, they give you a role, you play outside that role. It's like, hey,
you're on that pine or you're at the crib.
Hey, my boy, you shooting too much. Hey, we go ahead and get you up out of here.
Yeah,
We go ahead and get
you gotta come lay it down.
And Mexico is one of those places, like Jimmy, we talked about this before we started the show. They'll send you home with the quickness. Because I played in Mexico, I think the year before you got there, Jimmy, and me and my teammate got there at the same time. He lasted literally one game. Literally one game, they sent him home after that. And that was an eye-opener for me because I had never seen that side of the business before.
Yeah.
So
I got there, I kid you not. I was there from top to bottom.
Which is rare. That's super rare in Mexico.
Yeah. I've seen dudes, they come in. I'm telling you, they came in, they don't get but one practice. Play the next day, because in Mexico you play the back-to-backs.
Yep.
You play back-to-back, you get a day break, then you play back-to-back. So you play like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever. Mm-hmm. He came, had a practice, didn't play the Monday game, played the Tuesday game, played like decent. Like he didn't play bad, like he just got there. Played. By that Wednesday, I saw another player come in, and I said, dang, how you get here so quick? Yeah, bro, they flew me in. So you start thinking, so people start thinking like, dang, who's Spotty coming in?
Yep.
Dude had another practice that had got there. Game day came up. We had an away game. He came on a trip. He gets on the bus. They wait till we get to the hotel, and they tell him, they say, hey, the head coach comes to you, was like, yeah, management, I don't know why they didn't tell you. They said they were like a little scared about it, but basically you weren't supposed to come on this trip. You're supposed to be on a flight back to the crib. He had to Uber 3 hours back to the crib to pack his bags, and they sent him on that flight. He was there for all but 4 or 5 days.
Wait. He Ubered back. So you guys get to the hotel for an away game.
We drove a bus. We went 3 hours away. They waited till and this wasn't like right when we got off the bus. This was hours after we've been there. They come to the room. The head coach calls him. He comes to the room and he's like, hey, I'm sorry, I got to give you this message. Management was supposed to tell you before we left, but you're not supposed to be on this trip. And the reason it happened is because he hit management up, because he was like, why don't I have a room? He was like, I don't got no room or no roommate. And the management ignored him. So then the head coach was like, yeah, you got to go back to the crib. The head coach paid out of his own pocket to send him back to the crib on an Uber. And keep in mind, this is Mexico. This ain't the Uber Blacks. You're not getting no Uber XL.
Nope.
Yeah. You in the chum bucket. Sliding back. You sliding in a chum bucket back to the crib 3 hours. I was like, yeah, it's a dirty game out here.
For 3 hours is crazy as well.
And the one thing about Mexico, they don't tell you when you're on the fringe of getting cut. Like they just bring new players in and then look at you and say, oh yeah, time to go.
Nope. Like that new player will be at your apartment saying, hey, you gotta leave because they're moving me into your apartment right now.
Have his bags at your door and be like, oh, you still here? Dang. It's like we had players come in and they came and they told us, like, because after a while you start to, when you've been there the whole time, like me and another player last the whole year. So you start to figure out the song and dance. So when dudes start coming in, we just start asking them like, hey, what management tell you? Like, who you coming here for? And they start being like, hey, like 2 dudes came and they said, I'm gonna be honest with you. They told us none of y'all was supposed to be here but Jimmy. Like, so we were surprised when we saw y'all still here. We like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So there's times where they kept people longer than they were supposed to be there. And then there's some times where like some dude was about to get booted, but then he played like a crazy good game. And they were like, all right, let's just keep them both and just see what happens. So you got dudes that like, because you can only have 6 active like foreigners, quote unquote, on the roster. There was times where we had 9 people there. So 3 people are sitting on the side like in street clothes because they can't play. And like they're just putting people in and out each game to see who plays well and then sending the others to the crib. It was crazy. Coaches got done in. I had a coach come in. This was the funniest story. He came in and he was like, this was our 3rd coach we had. He was telling us, he was like, hey, let's be honest here. Before they get rid of y'all, before they get rid of me, they're going to get rid of y'all. They already got a new coach. So what do you think's going to happen? I looked at my teammate that was there. I said, he gonna have to eat them words. He better chill out saying that. He must not know how it go down here. He got into some beef with one of our other players who was like a hometown hero in Mexico. They love dude. Dude went to management and said, I'm not playing for him or me. Sent the coach to the crib, sent them packing. I said, you shouldn't have said that when you got here. Talking about they're going to get rid of y'all or get rid of me. I said, hey, it's a dirty game out here, boy. You go end up at the crib talking like that.
Yeah, Mexico might be the most cutthroat market in overseas basketball, man.
Cutthroat. My boy just went back out there for that LMVP league, and I was talking to him, and he said, brother, I was like the 7th player to get here, and I've seen 3 dudes get booted.
Crazy, man. Yeah, it's like that. It's really like that, man.
Hey, Mexico is wild. Oh my God.
Hey, I'm about to grab a charger real quick.
But it does humble you though, bro. Like, and you remember I'd be calling you stressed out when I was in Mexico, man. I'd be like, yo, like I think they're about to send me home right now, man.
Bro, it's only funny because we were talking about it. I'd be like, bro, you averaging like 20, you good. He said, bro, that don't mean nothing, bro. You home.
It don't matter. There was times where I was like, hey, I might be going to the crib.
Literally, like literally, it does like you could be like Jimmy's like you could be adding 25 and 8 and 7. And then they'll find the littlest reason to send you home, bro, because they think the guy they bring in is the next Michael Jordan, bro. Like,
hey, I'll be honest with you. I would go back to Mexico, and I got a lot of love for them because they helped my career tremendously. But they, as a whole, don't really know hoops like that. So, like, like they'll take a big name over you and your like what you're actually doing. So, like, there could be a 10, 15-year retired Jared Dudley that like ain't hooped in 100 years, but the fact that he's Jared Dudley, they'll look at you averaging 25 and 10 and be like, you gotta go.
Literally.
You gotta go. We need him.
But you know, though, I do want to give some credit to Mexico. They probably have the best fan base I've ever seen.
It be live at them fans be active at them games.
Unbelievable.
They love it. They love it out there.
Yeah. So I will give some credit right there. Aside from that, though, super cutthroat and so humbling, man. Mexico really humbling, bro.
Mexico is different. It's different. I've never seen so much movement on a basketball team in a like 4-month season in my life. 9 players and 3 different coaches is insanity.
And then if that's your first like overseas spot, you start thinking everywhere is like that. But but it's not. It's not.
I had some dudes that played in Europe, and they were like, "Yo, this is not over. Like, this isn't normal." Like, because we had some dudes that was their first time, and he was like, "I promise y'all, this is not normal. Like, this is crazy. This is insane."
Hey, we already know about the Europe. Europe.
Yeah.
Believe me, we know about it.
I also give Mexico credit too because they did pay me on time every time. I like the direct deposit.
Well, you got direct deposit. Okay, I was getting cash.
Yeah, no, a lot of dudes get cash, but I told him, I said, I don't trust it. I need that direct deposit.
Fair enough.
I don't trust them pesos. I don't know them guys. I don't know them guys.
Nah,
All I
hey,
Washington. I don't know Buddy on the $20 bill, the $500 bill you got. I don't know him. No,
nah,
I love him. Hey, he looked like cool people. I personally just don't know guy. I don't know him.
nah, Jim, you didn't want that cartel money, bro. That's all it was.
Yeah. I just want to kick it with Ben and them, Ben Frank and them boys. I don't know who this is. You gave me a 1 peso coin, a 50-cent peso coin. I don't know these guys.
Oh my God. All right. So Jimmy, some of the things you did while you were in Mexico. All right, you were killing, you were balling out. I would say, while you were there, what were some of the differences you seen between there and just college and just American hoops as a whole?
It's fun. I think Mexico that league specifically too. They try to emulate the NBA because they like it so much. So like, it's different in terms of you get six like foreigners, but they're usually all American, and then they're basically playing the whole game. So like, people think it's like I was playing against like people from Mexico, which they were on the team, but the majority of the time I'm playing against dudes like I know from the G League that are in the league. You know what I mean? Like dudes that are like can hoop for real. And I'm like, it was like different in that sense. So the competition was like good. It wasn't like I'm playing against straight bums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's good comp, good hoops, good runs. The style of play is they try to emulate the NBA, so it's super scoring oriented.
They even changed the minutes, right? It's 12-minute quarters, and they give you 6 fouls as well.
Yeah. 4 12-minute ones. So it's like either 4-12 or 4-10, like one of the two. But like the games are in. We had plenty of games like 110 to like 120 something, or like 110 to 100 something. Like it's a high pace of play. It's not like Europe at all. I would say like not even similar at all in like styles.
Not at all.
Way more Americanized style than like Europe or anything like that.
That's true. But that's why a lot of guys do like going to Mexico though, because it's almost more free flowing, like more freedom to do what you want to do down there.
It's definitely more if you're like an American, and you're like, what league can I go to that's more comfortable to what I'm used to? It's like I would say like a Mexico, like a South America is like way more would be your style than like a Greece or an Italy or something.
Right. And like you said, when you were down there, you were playing against G League guys. I hate that there's this notion that, or there's this stigma that Latin American, South American leagues aren't credible or aren't good. But dude, there's so many G League guys and former NBA guys that play in those leagues. Like you were in the Stby Copa, like that's pretty much all NBA guys and all G League guys on those teams, man.
Oh yeah, when it surprised me too, right? Because I had never been overseas at that point. So in my brain, I'm like, Mexico, I don't know what to expect. I'm thinking like, shoot, I'm gonna go play against, my boys down there, my boy Carlos. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go hoop the guys. But then when I got there, I'm like, dang, like I know you, like Jamon, my boy Aaron, like dudes I've seen in the G League, and I know. I'm like, dang, I didn't know y'all was down here. And like, it's good hoops, and like it's good because when you leave, it's credible for other places you want to, like some other place you want to go. Like though, because I know there's some leagues out there, like if you go to it, like they just don't respect it as much. Like teams look at it and they're just like, you were playing that league good, like that's all right. But like, especially for me, when I've talked to other teams and like G League teams and stuff, and they see like the resume and numbers of what I did over there, they're like, oh snap, like this is respectable because like we've had guys come over there and come back and play in the G or this, that, and the third or whatever.
And so now you come back, you're still working out, obviously, you got the shoulders out, you got the arms out. What is next for Jimmy Whitt? What's on the radar?
Man, I was back on the G League wave because I'm telling you, I got that itch. I got that. I'm not in that. I know, like, I feel like there's two paths people go at this point in their career. You go to like, okay, I just want to hoop, make some money, like get your life started. Nothing wrong with that. I'm still in that point of like, I'm still pushing that dream because I was so close at one point. And I just am like, until the Lord is pushing me in a different direction, and like I feel it deep down where I'm like, all right, I want to do something else, I'll do it. But I still got that passion. So I did a whole bunch of G League workouts, and they went really good. So like the draft is in on the 28th. I've been talking to some teams that are like, we're looking at really drafting you into the little G League draft. So we'll see how that turns out. But I don't really think about it now at this point in my life. Honestly, I'm just working out day to day and like enjoying my days, because like I'm not going to get these back at any point. So I'm like, whatever happens, like if it's back overseas, if it's the G League, I'm like, the Lord got it. Like I don't think about it. I don't stress. Dre, UBC, we just be clowning in the little group chat, or I'm kicking it with my people up here, enjoying time with them. Like I don't be really thinking about it, honestly.
Yeah. I'll say I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that it is not, a burden on you mentally and spiritually. It's not a burden on you. So
I feel like, especially the overseas hoop life, I think anybody that's been through it knows the amount of unknown you can live in on a day-to-day basis. Just like, and it's hard for people that haven't been in it when they're like, hey, what are you doing this year? And you're like, oh, I don't know. And they look at you sort of crazy, like, dang, like, and they always take it as if like it's like a bad thing, right? Like, you don't know, oh man, how are you gonna make money? How are you gonna do this? And it's like, I just don't know, because that's the nature of the business. Like, I know you're used to seeing like American hoops and stuff where you get these yearly contracts. But I'm like, overseas is usually year to year. So like when I'm done hooping, I don't know. Like you're gonna ask me, and 90% of the time I'm gonna tell you, oh, I don't know. Like I can give you an idea, but I truly don't know until it happens.
Yeah, you are a contractor.
Like sign up for.
Yo, Jimmy, literally everything you just said, like it hit my core, bro.
Yeah.
Because
you know that feeling of like when I'm telling people, they're like, what are you doing? Family, friends, like, so where are you playing? Oh, I don't know. And it's like that awkward look they give you, like, oh, snap. Like they're concerned, and you're like, it is what it is. Like it's I don't know what else you want me to tell you. It's the nature of the business. And it seems like a lot of times they're more worried about it than you are, because you're like, it's like, if it comes, it comes. But I'm just so used to it. Like we're not tripping. Like you don't got to worry. Relax. I'm okay.
Yeah, and then but then when you express that level of faith and like confidence, then they kind of look at you funny again, like, yo, like, but you don't know what's about to happen. So like,
yeah, like you don't know anything. And it's just like, it's one of those things I always tell people, you have to be in it to really understand like the feeling and like what I'm trying to tell you.
But that's why it's so important to have like a good support system, like, because like Dre knows what it was like when I took a couple months off. Like I was struggling, I was going through it. Like I didn't know when I was going to get my next contract, but Dre was there to support me through all that, man. And like, because he had been through it, so he knew what it was like. So like having that support system, man, is so beneficial.
That's one thing I've been focused on recently, is like building a good community. Like I'm at my sister's right now. She's eating Popeyes. I don't know what she's doing, just smacking in the background. She just whispered, smashed it in the background. So like just kicking it with people I care about, and like people that support you and like love you and know they're genuinely like care about you. Like that's what I spend most of my time doing. Because if not, I understand how people get in that mindset of like the unknown. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. The hoop life. Like I've seen friends go through it, and like you really need, especially in this line of work, like you need that support system that's gonna push you sometimes when you don't want to be pushed, tell you the real when you don't want to hear it, but also be there when they're like, this is what I want to do. And they're like, all right, bet, I'm right behind you with it.
Yes. Like this is one profession where I can genuinely confidently say persistence is rewarded every single time.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like keep pushing, and it will come eventually. Like it'll come. It don't always come how you want it and how like you've always may have dreamed it, but it's gonna come how, for personally, I think it always comes how you need it. May not come how you want it, but it's gonna come how you need it.
Yeah, that's how God be working though, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, and then for those, for some of the people who don't know what you do, like outside of just hoops, one of the things I didn't get a chance to do, but I know you started being, a little more philanthropy, and you started your own organization. Can you talk about that a little bit as well?
I went in, I had to give back to the kids. I got a soft spot for the kids, man. You know how it goes. No, but for I did want to the Arkansas community, especially when I went back, when I went back. There's always, obviously, when you leave, there's those group of people that talk, boom, boom. But when I went back, they were really like opening to the idea and like showed an immense amount of love through my career. Even now, Arkansas, they show crazy, crazy love. And I've always been the person, like, I do want to give back to communities and people that really like supported me. So I did in Columbia, I did the Whitt Basketball Academy, where I went to Hickman. And the cool thing about it was I got a whole bunch of sponsors to like sponsor the kids to come, like whoever wanted to come. So like a lot of it, I couldn't do 100% of it this first time around year, but a lot of it was paid for by like sponsors and like other people. So people got to come for free. It's like, wow. These weren't camps where they're like spending a whole bunch of bread. So the one in Columbia, I want to say almost everyone came for free. Like all the kids, they got to come for free. And it's just passing on my knowledge to them, like wisdom, basketball wise, but a lot of stuff outside of basketball wise, but also trying to give them like an enjoyable memory of like, this is someone that grew up how I grew up. We went to the same high school, and he's giving back, and like, this is fun. Like, cause I think we fail to realize, each and every one of us, like there's someone out there looks up to you. Like no matter who it is, they're watching you and they're thinking about the things you do, and they really take it to heart. And once I realized my impact on people, I'm like, let me go back to these communities and like actually do something for them. And not just basketball. Like I try to focus, especially the camps with younger kids. Like I just want you to have a good time. I don't even care if you get better at basketball. Like basketball is just to get you in the door, because that's what I do. And it's our common ground. But like, I remember when I was in Arkansas, the last day, I had a whole bunch of kids, and I was like, what do y'all want to do today? And they were like, I said, we can just play games if you want to. Like, we don't have to do anything basketball related. And I partnered with the Potter's House. So they have like a whole bunch of underprivileged kids and stuff. So they came. The last day we were playing red light, green light for an hour, and they like loved it. Like we didn't even play basketball. I was like, we can play red light, green light if you want to. They're like, yeah, let's do that. I'm just out there, red light, green light for an hour straight. They don't get tired of it. And then I remember the first day, they're like, we want to dunk, learn how to dunk. And I was like, you kids are 2 feet tall. You can't dunk. Sorry to break your dreams, but I'll see if I can figure something out. And then the last day, I was like, y'all remember what you want me to teach you? And I rolled the hoops down super low, and we just picked the kids up and they dunked. So it's like things like that. And then talking to the Potter's House after, they were like months later, they were like, yo, the kids still talk about like you coming up there and doing that and how much fun it was. And it had zero to do with basketball. They were just like, it was just so fun. Like he let us dunk. Like he was so cool. And I was just like, I take that stuff to heart.
Yeah, I'll say, and you know, some people don't get the time to do that. And I think, especially for you, I think that that's one way of just giving back in your own way, that I think all those kids that's a memory that will last forever. I will 100% say that. Like I still remember hanging out with the Mizzou guys for like a camp.
Yeah.
When I was in like 6th grade, 7th grade.
And it's just one of those things where like I've seen people not do it, and I've just always sort of been like, dang, like I remember being young and wishing I could be around this person or that person. And I've seen peers of mine get in positions and like don't do anything. And I'm just like, dang, you can't, like, I've had kids ask me about you type, you know what I mean? Like type deal, like, can you get this person to come, this person? And I'm like, I don't think we really realize at times the impact you have on other people. And sometimes we always, which is natural, you get caught up in your own world trying to figure out your own stuff, where it's like, sometimes to move forward, you just got to give to other people and like give and then see, and something good is going to come back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jimmy, so if there's one piece of advice, man, that you could give to, you know, a young high school student or a young college student or a young professional like you, what is one piece of advice that you could give to them?
What would I say to the young ones? I would say the best piece of advice is it's not the stereotypical, obviously, follow your dreams, but like I would say that you have to, one, find out like and comes with growth, and this is later year stuff, but like what genuinely makes you happy, and understanding that, like, I feel like once you come to understand that things are bigger than you in the world, you get a good grasp on your life, and you'll be able to handle your ups and downs more. Like you'll be able to handle life's trials and tribulations when you realize that like you are a part of something that's way bigger than you. Once you start to think you are the center of your world or the world, it's when problems hit you, everything crumbles, if that makes sense. Like once trials and tribulations and hard times hit you, if you don't realize that like I'm just a part of something bigger, it can minimize how you view your problems, because everything in life is perspective. So once I start to put myself at the center of everything, that's when problems hit, I'm like, dang, the whole world's crumbling around me. This is going bad, that's going bad. Where it's like, no, this is just a small time in a small portion of the grand scheme of things. So like for me, I put God first. So when I know God's purpose is just so much bigger than everything, these little things that get thrown at me by the enemy, I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like I'm part of something so much bigger and greater than me, and I'm on a path that's so much bigger than this small moment. Like, but I feel like that's like upper level thinking. Like kid, I can't tell that to a kid and he'll understand it. So like I would literally just tell a kid, just keep pushing. Like whatever happens, keep pushing. Find a good group of people you care about, and y'all push each other, take care of each other.
Yeah. There we go. I'll say, and I think that's beautiful. And most people I will say, I've seen people literally tell kids, don't follow the dream, follow what's best for you. And I'll be like, it's not the best thing to say. So I completely agree with you. And I love that message that you would have for, especially someone who's either looking to go in your profession or just, kind of looks up to you and may follow your footsteps in that way.
Yeah, I can't get behind those people that I'm always about, if you got a dream, go for it. It gets hard. I would tell them it's going to get hard. You will consider quitting, and that's really where people don't accomplish their dreams, right? There's no problem with quitting. Everybody has their threshold of failure they can take. And I just feel like that's what greatness is, right? You just have a higher threshold of failure. Some people get to college, Division I, but failure comes after, and they're like, well, I've had enough. Some people are like, shoot, you're going to have to bury me in that ground before I quit. Nothing's wrong with any of them. It's just, how big of a threshold of failure do you have?
Yeah. And so now it comes to my one big question. Your top 10.
Oh,
who is your top 10, Jimmy?
Let's see. In order, or I'll do an order. I don't know why dudes do in general. That's soft. We're going to do an order, top to bottom. People be on the, I'm talking about, people be in the interview. I be seeing them on TikTok. They'll be no order. No, we give it an order. And who's number one. Who's number one. The only and this is, I'll give a disclaimer. Players I've seen. I can't judge a man I ain't seen hoop. I'm not one of those dudes that's going, Jordan, trust me on it. I don't trust you, brother. I ain't seen Jordan. So Kobe Bean is number one on the list. Number one, Kobe Bean Bryant. Number two, I'll give it to Bron. I'll give Bron 2 for sure. I'll give Bron 2. And keep in mind, these are just players I've seen. I'm not, so you won't hear no Larry Birds or Magic or no. I ain't seen them boys. 3, I'll go Tim. I'll go Tim Duncan. I'll go Timmy at 3. I'll go Shaq at 4. I'll go Shaq 4, Timmy at 3. Timmy, and the only reason, look, I think Shaq was way more dominant than Tim, but I think skill-wise and just I don't know. I like Tim. I just think Tim got the edge on that one. But I do like Shaq. So they could be switched. If someone told me to switch them, I wouldn't be opposed. So Tim, Shaq, Tim, 4 or 5 don't really matter to me. Oh, now we're getting to sticking with players I've seen. Ooh. Where are we at? 6?
Yeah,
I'm at
6.
Dang.
For you.
Who do I got? This I'll go with players I've seen. I'll go Steph. At 6.
I like that one.
I'll go Steph at 6. I'll go Steph at 6. Changed the game, did a lot. I'll go Steph at 6. Dang, seven. See, this is when it gets hard because there's so many like comparable players with the 7 through 10. Man, I don't know why this is so hard. The 7 through 10s. Do I want to put? No, I don't want to put D Wade up there. Do I?
Ooh, I like that pick though.
Do I want to put Wade up there? I'll go. Let's not. I'll put D Wade at 7. I can go Wade at 7,
Okay.
and then I can go KD at 8. I can go KD at 8.
Okay, I like that. Okay.
I can go Kevin Durant at 8.
See Sean going through. Okay.
I can go Durant at 8. Keep in mind that these are players I've seen. So like, there's a lot of players that obviously like the Magics and stuff, the Kareems, that they're just not going to be on here because I ain't seen them play.
We got 9 and 10. Your last two.
9 and 10. I'll put I'll put Giannis. I'll put Giannis in there.
Oh, Giannis in the top 10. Okay.
I'll put Giannis
at 9.
That's a I'm giving him a little bit because what I think he'll do in the future too. Like, I just think he'll continue to do the same stuff, which is why I'll throw him in there. And then who wants that 10 spot? Ooh, look who I'm gonna go with. Think about it. I'll give 10 to actually put Giannis at 10.
Okay, who's taking 9?
I put my boy T-Mac at 9.
Oh,
put my boy T-Mac at 9. And disclaimer again, all players I've personally seen. So if I haven't seen them play, I won't put them. I just won't talk about them.
Hey, this your list. Kashawn has a very different opinion on your
Where
list.
y'all going? With players let's go with players you've seen play.
Players I've seen.
Let's go with players you've seen.
Players I've seen, most dominant, just players I've seen. 20-year span. You can put I go Bron at 1.
Okay.
Because you gotta respect that 20-year span over 2 decades of just dominating and putting up numbers in the league.
I'm not mad at that.
After that, I think I want to say probably Shaq 2, Kobe 3, Timmy 4. Who would be my 5th right there?
Also, when we think about this list, I'm thinking straight hoops. Like, I know, I'm not putting the rings and all the envy. I'm not
no. This is like
hoopers.
This is people. Kashawn, what do you have to say? You want to?
But that plays a factor in it though.
It does give a little bit of a factor with it.
Here's the issue, because once I do that, then a lot of those people I named, I just couldn't put on there. Like T-Mac, you're not making it, buddy. Sorry to break it to you.
So are you saying these are more guys that have been like
when you're asking me for my top 10, and this is just because it's like end to end, like this is a long conversation for me, but I'm on some let me make it the easiest. I'm thinking of hoopers I've seen, and I'm thinking about straight hoops. Like you're hooping, like you can win. Obviously, winning goes into it a little bit, but I'm not really thinking MVP. I'm thinking like who's a killer.
So would you say this is more so some of the best talent, like just talent-wise, some of the best you've seen?
Yeah.
Best talent you've ever seen. All right,
like hooper. Like we talk about straight hooping, line the ball up in a pickup spot. Who's hooping? Who's out there balling?
I can see that. Okay. That's fair.
Okay. So what I say? Timmy was 4?
Yeah.
4. I'm going my boy Chef, obviously. You know, I'm going to have Chef in the 5. You know I'm going to have Chef in the 5.
I think even if we're talking about everything as a whole history, Curry got to be in the top 10. Like, I just don't see how he's not.
This is what I'm this is why I need to use the pod. That's what I'm talking about.
Of all-time greats, we have to start thinking like there's not a big list of people that have impacted the game and will impact. Steph Curry quite literally changed how teams draft players, how they make up their teams, like everything.
Think about it like this. Dudes like who, like kind of like the D Roses, like they're just like super athletes and can't quote unquote can't shoot when they came into the league, won't be looked at the same anymore.
I'll say this though. I think the league is reverting back to more traditional style hoops, and we're coming down off the high of the Warriors and how they put together their team. Because teams have tried to like do the let's just get shooters and shoot a whole bunch of threes, but they realize like Steph and Clay were quite literally some of the best shooters to ever grace a basketball. And if you even get shooters slightly worse than that, it looks awful on a basketball court. Like if you take a shooter slightly worse than Steph and say go do what Steph does, you're gonna be like, hey, relax, brother. Like you're tripping. Go to the basket. And I think the recent championships of like the Nuggets, teams like that, and like when the Lakers won, where they were playing more like traditional hoops in terms of like we're gonna have bigs that can block shots and rebound. We're gonna attack the rim, and then if you're open a couple times, you know, knock down to Tracy. But like the Nuggets weren't just this crazy 3-point shooting team. And when the Lakers won, you know, they definitely were. They could barely shoot.
I think as a team, what, around 30%, I want to say.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, so Chef in that 5. Oh, like you said, after the 5, it's like
everyone gets interchangeable for me. Like you can make good arguments after that, where I'm like, oh, okay, I can see it.
Now that I will agree with. That I do agree with. Like after you get once you get past 5, you get to like 6 through 10. It's like,
you know what I just realized was crazy? You didn't even throw in you just brought up the Nuggets. You didn't even throw in what's name in there.
You talking about Melo?
No. Nuggets that just won a recent championship and their best player. They just won, one MVP.
I ain't got nothing to say because I still want to get into the NBA, so I'm not even going to.
I respect it. Don't say anything. So we're not going to say any of that.
I'm not going to say that. I still want to make it. So I ain't even going to speak on that one. He got it. He's good. He's tough for sure.
So I'm going to say KD would be in my 6th spot. Obviously, man, that's obviously one of the greatest scorers we'll ever see. Grace of basketball. Giannis, I think, is 7. But this is messed up because these are all people I've recently seen. So scratch that. KD is. I'm taking D Wade. I think I like D Wade over KD. Just how nice he was.
I like D Wade. I think people forget how nice D Wade really was because we think about LeBron and D Wade. D Wade
led the league in scoring one year. Was also in the top. I want to say top 5 in MVP voting. Had a case actually to get MVP that year when Bron did, but they were a little bit favorites. So I'm going. So D Wade's at 6, KD's at 7. I want to say you can put Giannis at 8. This is a hot take, crazy take. When he's playing, I could put Kawhi at 9.
We're done. We're done with the pod. It was good seeing y'all boys, and that's no disrespect to Kawhi, but brother.
We don't jack Kawhi, but we throw a team.
At that point, what you're saying is I might as well say when Melo was in his prime, I'll throw him in the top. Like if we're gonna start like just picking very minuscule points of people, like I need some more Kawhi. That's all I need.
All right, but I'm saying when Kawhi played, did he not win a chip?
He did, but I could just say when Melo played, he was a killer. Like when he was in his prime, like I don't like the when he was like.
Okay, I'll take out the when he was. Kawhi as a whole still was great.
Top 10? I'll give it to you. It's your list, not my list. Keep going. You're right. That's on me, not my list.
That's the way to say he's not checking him.
He's a hater. He's always been a hater. This man threw in T-Mac. But don't want to throw in Kawhi? Like, at least one of them got a chip.
But look, I did a disclaimer and said I'm thinking about straight hoopers. But
I mean, at least I'm still saying at least one of them I can be like, hey, he still was killing. He knocked off a whole championship roster. And on top of that, he went 1 year with Toronto. He went 1 year with Toronto and swept through the East.
Yeah, he did that. I mean, the East was down a little bit, but he did that.
He had a great team, but I'm still saying he pushed them over the top and made them a great team.
He beat the Warriors in the championship.
Yeah.
No KD, no Clay.
I know it's a sick feeling. It's sick to say, but yeah. I don't believe me when I say it's a sick thing to say. And then low key, this is a very personal one. I'm gonna say AI at my 10th spot.
I knew you were gonna say that.
AI is like my T-Mac pick.
Low key.
You chose AI straight off what he did for the game, like the culture of the game.
I'm
AI
not
AI's tough.
bruh. AI was cooking out there. And when you know how you say Kobe was like one of, granted, I think Kobe was like one of the guys that really made if you're 30 and under, Kobe made you love basketball. Like he was in there and made you really love basketball. AI low key was also one of the guys where it was like he made basketball so cool.
AI's top 5 impact to the game for sure. If we're talking about pure impact to the game and like culture of basketball, AI's top 5 for sure.
Yeah. So I gotta throw AI in there. Show him some love, man.
Okay. Solid.
Who's your last
We got
one?
Kashawn.
What?
He's a player you've seen play, not dudes that you didn't see on the stat sheet or in NBA classics.
Yeah.
I hate that we're using that sort of dynamic. Completely changed my list. Completely changed.
Yeah, I know it did. He'd have Will.
Now, once getting into the basketball history, that's when I got to talk, because I'm one of those dudes that I think like this. No disrespect to any old hooper, but like if we go too far into championships, then I got to start putting Bill Russell up a lot of spots that I don't want to put him up. And that's no disrespect to Bill Russell. It's just that like once I start nitpicking on things, it's like, well, what are we putting first?
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes a whole different conversation. So I figure like it's just easier if I'm just like, who's a hooper that you're like, hey, this dude's a straight baller.
Okay, so under those parameters, I would, and they so only people we've seen physically.
Yeah.
I got the numbers for you. Here you go.
I'll have LeBron at 1. I see Tim Duncan at 2.
Oh,
Shaq at 3.
2? The Timmy 2-step? Timmy 2-step. Oh my god.
Where are we at, Drake? 3?
we're at 3. We're at 4. We're at 4. You said Shaq at 3.
I'll get Kobe after that.
Kobe 4. You have 5.
Then Steph. Then KD. Then D Wade. What am I at right now? 7.
You have 7. See, it's a little harder when you gotta think about it like that. Players you done seen.
Okay, this is a little.
Boy, about to throw in JP Tokoto next.
Yeah.
The
book.
You know, I would have to throw Giannis in there. I would throw Giannis in there.
Yeah. Hey, we do not respect big man in this generation. That is insane. We don't.
No.
Also, can we fact that Dre tried to set me up with the Nikola Jokic, and he didn't even put Nikola Jokic in his top.
Hey, I just want to ask. I just asked. I asked a question.
He tried to set me up with future unemployment. He didn't even put the man in.
Don't make it seem like that. I asked you. I was like, hey, we didn't throw that man in there. All I've been seeing on ESPN is he's a top 5. He's now top 3 ever big man. And I'm like, dang, bro, that's a lot low key.
I just think it's funny how he does.
You don't get to say anything on this one. You can't say anything on that.
I just think it's funny how he treats basketball like a true 9 to 5. Like they're like, did you touch a basketball this summer? He was like, not really. He's like, wait, what? He's just like, yeah, I'm not really excited to be in the office, but you got to do what you got to do. I'm like, yo, what is going on?
And you either really appreciate that mindset or it irks you so much. Like there's no in between. Like,
yeah, there's no in between. And he truly is just doing his job. They're like, how did it feel after winning a championship? Did your life change? Nah, not at all. Nothing. I'm like, yo, this dude's different.
Oh, it's great. Gilbert Arenas in my top 10. Number 9.
You are from DC, so that
Listen. Jimmy had T-Mac. You had AI. I feel like
the gunslinger himself. No bad. My boy Gilbert. I like Gilbert. I like it. I used to use him when he was on the cover of, what was that, NBA Live or 2K?
NBA
was
Live
NBA
08.
That was like
Yeah,
06,
NBA
wasn't it?
Live. He was
Oh,
going
yeah.
crazy on that NBA Live too.
At that time frame, he had DC like in a stranglehold, man. Like he had, dude, talking about impact, like he has completely changed DC. Like to this day, people still call him like their most favorite wizard.
Oh no, Gilbert he's that guy. He was that guy. I mean, he's still. I like Gilbert. I like his podcast too. With
He's like the
McCann.
podcast.
Dude's funny.
Facts. And is that 10, Drake? Is that 10?
That was 10. That was 10.
Okay, there you go. That's my list. Yeah.
Here's my question for y'all. If Dame and Giannis don't win this year, is it a fail?
Oh, well, that is
Is it a fail if they don't win this year?
Do you want to get in that? You know, this is your employment. This is where you trying to be at.
Oh, I don't think it's a fail though. If they don't win, I feel like other teams are either equally or better than them.
I think there's a couple of teams better than Milwaukee.
Like I don't think that because I think Dame does make them better, a lot better, but I don't think it makes them just dramatically better than other teams.
I agree. I don't think they're better than Boston.
You think they're better than Boston?
I don't
I
think
think
they're better
Boston
than
got
Boston.
an upgrade. I think Drew Holiday helps Boston a lot.
I think so too. I agree with that. Look, okay, I'm gonna answer Jimmy's question super quick. I don't think you have to win this year, but the issue becomes like, even if you win, it doesn't guarantee that Giannis will stay. Because Giannis could very well still leave Milwaukee, and that's the only thing I'm concerned about.
I feel that.
Yeah. I'll say it's Jimmy. We thank you so much, bro, for getting on here with us. We love the fact that you took some time out for us, man. Thank you so much. Any shout outs for us?
Nah, man, we don't shout. We don't give free promo, man. We don't get free promo out here, man. The people that love him know I love him, man. We don't get free promo.
Oh my God. All right. Deshaun, any shout outs, bro?
I just want to, first of all, I just want to say, yo, Jimmy, thank you so much for being on, bro. You gotta get back on the show again, bro. We gotta get you on a Patreon episode. Like,
I've been playing. Damn, I'm about to sneeze. I've been planning on coming on. I've been like moving around and doing stuff, but this was fun. I'll definitely do it again, 100%.
But shout out to you, Jimmy. Thank you so much, bro. We really appreciate that. Next time you have a camp or anything, just let me know. I'll try and get in there. I'm sure Cashapp will too as well.
Definitely keep always updated on everything.
Shout out my boy New Owls. He's trying to get right, man. Go look at him. Go look at his store, man. Lord in the Stitch. He's based in San Francisco now, but any type of clothing or any attire you want, he can get it right for you. I promise. But like I said, thank you to everybody who's watching, and thank you to the fans, and shout out to y'all for real. We really appreciate y'all coming here and watching us.
Absolutely, Dre. I couldn't agree with you more, man. Guys, if you haven't already, though, be sure to subscribe to us on all streaming platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. That's where you find us. Be sure to follow us on Patreon as well, where we post exclusive content weekly. And be sure to tune into our weekly live shows on Instagram every Thursday at 9 p.m. Dre, like you said, shout out to the fans. None of this is possible without them. And Jimmy, once again, thank you so much, bro, for being on the show.
It was fun for sure. We got to do it again.
Definitely will.
Dre's got to update his top 10. I didn't want to get on him, but it was a little shaky.
That's beautiful. Perfect. All right, guys. So continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions, and until next time, guys. Peace.